Hello there, hello there, hello there, hello there. Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back, welcome back to the Agostino Zinga Show with your host, Agostino Zinga, and this is episode number 844. Welcome back to the Agostino Zinga Show with your host, Agostino Zinga, and this is episode number 844. That is Ocho Cuatro Cuatro with your host, Agostino Zinga. What's happening? What's crackling, people? What's happening? What's crackling, people? Big up everybody in the live stream who's tuning in live. Big up those of you who be tuning in after the fact. Big up my guys, Keso Moses. Do never apologize for being first in the chat, my friend. Being first in the chat is a thing for a reason. It feels good. It feels gratifying. It feels like an accomplishment because it is, because you were first. So big up Keso Moses. Big up Sarlux. Big up Tim Esco. Big up, who else I see here? And big up Mr. O. Big up everybody else tuning in after the fact. Appreciate all of you. Thank you for tuning in. This is the Agostino Zinga Show, the #1 cultural commentary podcast in the world. So thank you so much for joining me. Thank you so much for joining me. Today we've got a jam-packed docket of things I want to get through. So sit back, strap in, and lock into the #1 cultural commentary podcast in the world. I'm really happy to be here with you today, and I hope you are happy to be here with me as well. Okay? Cool. Safe, safe, safe. Let's continue. First things first. First things first. This kid, man. This kid, Luigi Mangione, is good. This kid is good. This kid is good. Not only does he have the gays on lock, not only does he have the chicks on lock, not only does he have the day-dems on lock, he even has black girls on lock. It seems like Luigi Mangione has an appeal that is so universal. It's so universal, so goated, it's so flipping widespread that he even has, yes, you guessed it, some of the Asian itches out there. Some of the Asian itches out there frothing of the mouth over him. Somebody posted this about the United Healthcare CEO assassin, who everybody's been going crazy over. Manifesto drop. We read that. Alternative theory about why he may have done it and why he didn't do it. Reasons behind why he might have done it. Blah, 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 blah. But now we have this person coming out saying a Chinese girl on Instagram says that her friend lived with Luigi Mangione in a dorm in Hawaii. The girl herself met him once and says everyone called him sweet. If he ate someone's ice cream in the dorm, he would immediately buy a new one. I'm sorry, but free Luigi instantly. I'm sorry, but free Luigi instantly. This doesn't mean much to some of you people out there who probably are heathens, or some of you who live in a perfect world. But I have been in shared accommodation. I haven't lived in shared accommodation, but I've lived in shared accommodation. I've been around people who lived in shared accommodation, and I can say comfortably, some of you will agree with me here, one of the main points of contention, one of the main arguments, one of the main debates, one of the main fight reasons has to do with people eating things from the communal kitchen and not replacing them. Me personally, I'm a bit radical. I'm a bit radical with this. This is my radical opinion. I personally think you shouldn't touch anything that isn't yours in general. That's my blanket, view. But I think there are some things like I don't know if they're called commodities. There's a term for it in the kitchen. There's a term for stuff like milk, butter, I don't know. There's maybe pasta. There's a term for it. Where maybe a bag of rice. There's a term for it in the kitchen as how you organize your kitchen. But those type of things, they should maybe be bought for the entirety of the flat, the entirety of the shared accommodation you're in, so everybody can kind of take from it, right? But I think there are specific things like your ice cream, maybe a particular bread you like, a particular eggs you like, particular milk you like, whatever. There's particular things that everyone eats, based on your diet, based on your tolerances and your whatever it may be, that should be kept for yourself. So in general, I think those things should be off limits. But if you're gonna do it, if you're gonna eat my thing because it's there and you're hungry, cool. But then instantly replace it. If I'm giving you the option to eat something yummy in the moment when you don't want to go outside, you have to do me a favor and replace my thing without me asking. Because I think personally for me, the disrespect happens, or the disrespect starts when somebody doesn't replace the item that they ate. I think already it's disrespectful that they ate it in the first place. I think as a grown-up, if you're hungry and there's nothing for you to eat in the kitchen and you see other people things, you should get out. You should get up from your ass and go outside and buy your own groceries. I bought mine, you go buy yours. Taking mine and then saying you're going to replace it later is a bit of a cop-out and super lazy, and I'll get annoyed by it. But if you're going to do it, be like Luigi Mangione. Eat the ice cream and then immediately replace it without me even asking. Obviously, it helps that he's a cute lad, good-looking dude. I'm sure the Asian girls, you know how Asian girls love white boys the same way, you know, black men love Latinas and shit, right? So I'm sure the girls are fucking frothing at the mouth, right? In terms of seeing him and whatever. Probably their dream man. So I'm sure the looks didn't, you know, help to kind of smooth it over when he was eating their ice cream. Or maybe some of these girls were thinking that, you know, they were visualizing the thought of him eating their ice cream and him eating other parts of their, you know, body and stuff or whatever. I don't want to get too fucking graphic, but you know what I mean. So maybe they gave him a bit of a blie. But, for goodness sake, people need to be more like Luigi Mangione. And I made this point earlier on X. And somebody was like, oh, why does he get bonus points for doing normal common decency things? And I was saying, because it's like no one really does common decency things. Most people don't do what Luigi Mangione did. Most people will take your thing, they won't replace it without you asking, or if you do ask them, they'll get into an argument with you. They'll start arguing, they'll start shouting. You might even get into a fight, even though you're in the right for saying, hey, who ate my thing? Finding out that person ate it, but they're not replacing it. They might actually get into a fight with you because they feel like you are telling them to do something. They don't feel like they should be told. They feel like they should do it in their own time. You didn't give them a time to make the mistake. But whatever their nonsense is going through their head. And you're like, bruh, just replace my thing without me asking you. That's all I ask. I don't care about what's going on in your life. I don't care about your mom, your dad. I don't give a crap. Just replace my thing. That's all I ask for. And some of these people are so weird. They're so tapped. They're so all over the place that they'll somehow make it into like a you problem. It's like, it's not really a me problem when you're the one that's not really, you know, respecting my things, respecting me as a person, and just kind of making sure that you replace a thing. It's not that deep. It really isn't that deep, but you know how people are. You know how these mofo people are. So, big up Luigi Mangione. And again, I'm sure, I'm actually curious to know if he's aware of all this love he's getting on social media. Maybe not though. Maybe not, because I guess when his photo was leaked, he was already arrested. So maybe he doesn't have any idea. But I wonder if he's aware of like all the love he's getting on social media and the fact that he's turned into some like heartthrob, you know, and everyone's fucking falling in love with him. I wonder if he's aware of all this stuff. I wonder. But regardless, big up Luigi Mangione. We love to see this assassin king, assassin Bay, is also a good human because he he replaces the ice cream that he buys, and he seems to have Chinese girls, you know, frothing at the mouth as much as he has gays and girls and they, dems, everything else in between. Great to see. Great to see. Continuing on, we got this post courtesy of this person on Twitter called Thomas Hornell. Big up Thomas Hornell. He says the following: I'm British. I recently spent 10 days in the USA for business and discovered the ocean between us isn't just water. It's mindset. 7 uncomfortable truths about the US v UK culture. Okay, let's see what this guy, I'm assuming a tech bro, has to say about what he felt when he went to the US and difference between in work culture and shit. Let's see. Number 1 difference: financial openness. This is obviously obvious. This is obvious. Anyone in the UK knows where I'm going when it comes to financial openness. Americans freely discuss salary, deals, and revenue. Brits are guarded, awkward on money matters. And the funny thing about it is that our awkwardness and our coyness and our shyness and our humility and our secrecy when it comes to money and pay and salary and whatever is actually a negative. It actually hurts us because it helps companies take advantage of us. That's why in the UK, I think, personally for me, in the UK, maybe it's different in other countries, but I think the whole idea about like men getting paid more than women debate in terms of salary, in terms of gender, you know, gender gaps in terms of salary and stuff doesn't apply in the UK. I think the salary gaps apply across the board, and they also, you know, apply across genders. It's not just men and women because people aren't open with the salary. So for instance, like I remember one time I was hired to be a social media manager at a company, and I just took the deal that I was offered. So whatever I was offered, I think I might have been offered like 29,000 or something like that per year to be a social media manager. And I just took it. I didn't really debate. I didn't really negotiate my salary. I didn't, you know, try and ask for more money or whatever. I just took what was given, signed the contract, got on my job. Later on, I found out from the person who had a job prior to me, who had less experience than me, and was a girl, that she got 35,000 because that's what she negotiated. So, you know, that's kind of proof. And I think at that time I had way more experience than her. So that goes to show that I think our lack of openness to talk about it. And again, don't get me wrong, I didn't know this girl prior to me getting the job. I only kind of, you know, learned who she was after the fact. It was kind of a happenstance kind of interaction. So I can't really blame myself too much about that. But I think in general, the guardedness and the kind of shyness and the inability to kind of speak openly about money and about salary and stuff really does hurt us as a country, because there's tons of people, it doesn't matter if you're a man or a woman or anything else in between, who are getting fucked over because people aren't clear and open about what they got. So then the person that comes after them usually gets fucked, or the person that comes before them probably got fucked, and now you know what I mean? It's all over the place. So I think in general, we should be more open with salary and stuff, and it would probably help us across the board. But I think the corporations, the companies probably don't want that. That's why they promote this kind of coyness and secrecy when it comes to salaries, or we have this like salary band and ranges and shit. It's all over the place. I personally would like it to go to like how it is in I forgot the Scandinavian country. It might be Norway. I think it might be Norway. There's a Scandinavian country where everyone's salary is publicly available. You can log into like a, you know, you go to the town hall or whatever, or like the government website, and you can see each company and it lists how much each person's making in like a spreadsheet. Like it literally lists it. Like it's fucking wild. They don't play like, yeah, here's how much everyone makes. I think that would be really beneficial for employees anyway in general. The second one, belief in possibility. Discuss big plans in America. Why not? In the UK, why bother? One culture expands, the other one stifles. This is huge. This is huge, huge, huge. And I also think this is probably the reason why a lot of people in the UK are on this, and I'm the same, have the mindset of like never discussing your plans openly and just doing things secretly. Like, oh yeah, I'm working, I'm in the lab, I'm off the grid. When I pop out, it's going to be mad. Like everyone has that kind of mindset. No one's really like talking openly about their plans, about their dreams, about their aspirations, in fear of somebody saying, why bother? In fear of somebody saying, really? In fear of somebody saying, that sector's a bit crowded. That industry's a little bit, you know, rinsed. This and that, blah, 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 which will end up putting you off. So you don't want to say anything. That's what happens in the UK. There is really, but the weird thing is, I think, as well, is like there's a lack of encouragement. There's a lack of like pom-poms. There's a lack of people cheerleading you on. But once you do make it, they do salute. That's the thing in the UK. They do salute you once you've made it, but there is a real lack of like cheering you on along the way. They don't cheer you on. They don't encourage you really. They don't fucking put a battery in your back. Zero. You're on your own. Figure it out. Another one. Rising tide mentality. Americans celebrate wins with genuine infectious enthusiasm. It's all let's go, high fire celebrations. Brits tuck cringe with impotent envy and think that who does he think he is? One attitude lifts all boats, the other one sinks them. To be fair, I don't know about this. I think this is a bit cringe. I think the American rah-rah celebrating everything kind of thing is a little bit cringy, in my personal opinion. It's a little bit cringy. So I can understand why as a Brit, we can see that whole like, oh, look at me, celebrate my win type of thing. It's almost like I almost feel like this kind of reminds me a little bit of like the birthday month thing, birthday week. I feel like that birthday week, birthday month thing is an American thing that is obviously crossover to the UK. Similar goes for like the fucking, you know, similarly goes for like gender reveals. I feel like a gender reveal is a particularly American thing that is obviously, you know, crossed over to Europe and other parts of the world. But I don't think that's a bad thing that we're a little bit more coy and we're not so like rah-rah. So I'm not really too, you know, this one I can do without. Another one here, number 4, learning focus. Every win shared triggered a rapid fire questions. What worked? How would you do it? Can you teach me? American study success. Brits suspect it. Learning focus. Every win shared triggered a rapid fire questions. What worked? How do you do it? Can you teach me? American study success. Brits suspect it. Okay, maybe that's a bit true. There is a little bit of like a, oh, what the fuck is this guy up to? If you achieve something great, maybe you Americans are probably a little bit more, again, more, it's similar to that, the encouragement and the pats on the back and the celebrating of somebody doing something amazing and achieving something cool, or something kind of, you know, out of the ordinary. But maybe Brits are a little bit more, we are a little bit more skeptical. You know, we do kind of give people like the kind of the side eye. You know, when they achieve something crazy. Maybe that's part of it. I don't know. But again, that I'm not really too sure if that's a bad thing. Because I think we have a better bullshit radar, I think, than Americans. I think we have a way better bullshit radar than Americans do. But, you know, I could be wrong. It continues. Risk tolerance. Failure in America is proof you took a big swing and missed this time. In the UK, it's like a generational stain. We try scrubbing up quietly behind closed doors. No wonder American scales while Britain stagnates. That's very true. That's a very true. There is a lot of like risk intolerance in the UK. There's a lot of like, just be happy with what you have. Why would you take chances? Like just being like okay when you're stationed. There's a lot of people like, even me myself in the jobs that I've taken. Obviously the way that I've done it is because I'm trying to make it doing this type of stuff more so as opposed to working a 9 to 5. But I could even say even my mindset of always taking jobs that are like, let's say like 2 or 3 levels below what I can actually do and my potential and my ability and my experience and my age, just because I don't want to take on more responsibility. It's kind of like the standard like retail thing. Back in the day in retail, I'm sure some of you guys will know if you worked in bars and stuff, there was a time where I worked retail where for the longest time, I was just a sales assistant. Full-time but sales assistant. I could have easily been a supervisor. I could have easily been a manager, easily been a fucking, you know, area manager. I could have easily ascended the heights of retail, but I specifically only worked as a sales assistant because it allowed me to clock in and clock out. I didn't need to, it didn't require me to open the store. I didn't have to close the store. I didn't have to cash up. I didn't have to take deliveries. Zero. All I did was work in the store. I maintained the store standards and that was it. And I served the customers. That was it. But that kind of thing is also limiting because it kind of, you don't take the risk of like, okay, cool, I'm gonna go for the area manager role at this company. I'm gonna transfer to this sector and technical experience and take it that way. We don't really try and do it. We always try and kind of keep our heads under so we don't kind of try to maybe achieve more in the fear that we might fail. And if we fail, everyone's gonna see. And there's a shame in failure. There's a shame in like not being able to kind of, you know, maybe you spoke a big game and you didn't actually deliver and now everyone's looking at you differently, which is, again, strange and weird, doesn't make any sense, but that's kind of similar to what's going on there. This quote says, all 6 of the most valuable companies in the US, all of which are more than 1 trillion, have been created in the last 50 years. By contrast, no European company valued at more than 100 billion has started in that period. Wow, okay, cool. Another one, number 6, speed of execution. In the US, let's make it happen. Jump on a call. Refer through networks. Action first mentality. In the UK, let's be realistic. List all the problems first. Worst case scenario. Every reason not to try. That's very true. That's a very accurate representation of the difference between the UK and the US. Let's be realistic. Let's hold our horses. Let's kind of rein it in a little bit. Let's not get above our station. I've heard all those type of things in the workplace. So yeah, that's very true. Number 7, follow the money. Britain will lose nearly 10,000 millionaires this year. The US is forecast to gain nearly 4,000. Capital flows where it's respected, not resented. Very true. There is probably a lack of, what's that respect? There's probably a lack of like, maybe not respect is the right word. But I would imagine it's not, I would imagine, because I'm not a millionaire yet, but I would imagine England isn't the best place to be comfortable as a millionaire. England isn't the best place to have money. I think England's the best place to have quiet money, similar to like places like Germany and stuff. I think there are places in the world where if you want to have like quiet money and you want to kind of, you know, do what you want to do, go to little private clubs, have your little whatever, cool. But if you want to kind of live life to the fullest in a very American jet ski, you know, Independence Day, New Year's Eve, in, you know, Thanksgiving, New Orleans, Miami, LA type of way, England isn't the place to go. England isn't a place to be. It definitely isn't. So I can understand why millionaires, especially with our taxes the way it is, especially with the lack of housing available and also the lack of space. Like imagine if you're a millionaire in the UK and you legitimately have to pay, like, you know, I think my parents' house in Canning Town might be worth like up to $500,000. And it's definitely isn't a $500,000 house, right? And I'm sure a lot more, I'm sure there's council flats in parts of London that are probably $1 million and they're in horrendous areas. So you don't really get a lot out of your money. You can't really enjoy yourself as a millionaire. Like imagine if you had a Lambo. Imagine as a millionaire, you had a Lambo, but you live in Hackney. You can't really push it anywhere. There's traffic lights everywhere, speed bumps, cameras, speeding cameras, zebra crossings, nosy neighbors complaining about the sound of your car. It's not the nicest place or the funnest place if you've got money. Another one says, the cost of British cynicism. Our markets shrink while others grow. Our talent leaves while theirs arrives. Our companies stay small while theirs scale. Yeah. So, yeah, I agree with this guy. A lot of good points were made here. I think in general, the main point I think needs to be discussed is definitely the lack of discussion around salary and deals and revenue. I think this is the big thing that's really hurting all of us. And I think, as well, I said before, I think this affects anybody across the fucking working, environment, regardless of gender. I think this is a big problem because I think a bunch of people, myself included, have definitely had experiences where it doesn't matter if you're a man or a woman, you definitely get paid based on what you can negotiate, but because no one speaks freely about their salaries, you would have no idea that the person that came before you, who had less experience than you and did a worse job, was on 35, and then you come in and offer you 29, and you just take it because you're happy to have the job. It's a really weird mentality, really bad mentality, and ultimately, the people that pay the price, obviously, regular civilians like you and I. So big up Thomas Hornell, lovely tweet thread there. We continue. This picture's pretty interesting and pretty funny, isn't it? So 50 Cent decided to share this picture, which people assumed at first was Drake's op list. But now we've been led to believe that this is a list that a Drake fan page made, listing some of the ops that Drake has. It wasn't an actual list that Drake did himself, but it was a list that a Drake fan page made of his ops based on the beef that happened with Kendrick Lamar and the fallout of that sort of stuff. Now, the funny thing about it, obviously, is the names included on there. You've got Rory from New Rory and More. You've got Joe Budden. You've got Omarion. You've got Rockefeller, MTV Music Awards, the NBA, NFL, Tyler, the Creator. Loads of mad people. But I was wondering in general, like, do a lot of people actually keep a record of people that they don't fuck with? Or are most people like me? Where, for me, there's a lot of people who I don't really fuck with, but my kind of like way to show that I don't fuck with you is to never think about you. Like you never cross my mind. If we fall out, essentially I delete you from my memory. I don't remember your name even. I won't go as far as unfollowing you on social media. I'm not that pressed, but it will just be that kind of thing. And I think maybe my lack of wanting to go down the route of unfollowing is also another signal, a little micro signal in my head anyway, a little micro kind of sign, a little micro kind of, little whatever it may be, to show that, hey, I'm so not bothered, I'm so not, caring about you and your situation, what's going on in our relationship, that I'm not even going to go as far as like showing you that I care by going through my friend list and finding you, searching your name, clicking on follow. I'm not going to do that. So that's what I personally do, which I think is actually the opposite of showing you're not pressed, because it shows you're thinking about it. But that's how I kind of deal with it. I would never ever sit down and write a list of people that I don't fuck with, because I don't ever want people to feel like they're on the front of my mind and I'm gonna list them down in alphabetical order. Never ever. I'd rather die than have anyone think that I'm thinking about them that much in that regard. But I think some people are different in this scenario. I think if you're maybe Drake, maybe it makes sense, given the beef, given what's happened, to keep a handle on who you don't really fuck with, and then kind of move accordingly vis-a-vis. But I also do find it interesting how that one beef with Kendrick ended up him having to fall out of all these people. It doesn't make any sense, because if you listen to Kendrick Lamar, he's very clear about why he doesn't like Drake, and it should have just been kept there. Like, I don't really see why I had to include the whole industry. But it's obviously proof, as we've now seen, that a lot of people have kind of held a lot of resentment, a lot of hate for Drake, never really said anything publicly. And then when the Kendrick came out and started hitting him, clearly they wanted to stand behind him because they thought Kendrick was being the one to get Drake out of the paint. And obviously there's probably other forces involved as well, with the music industry wanting to kind of back another horse, and maybe Drake asking for more money. Who knows, right? But I just find it interesting how, like, two elite rappers and MCs and artists who go head to head for whatever reasons they're going for, but you can say it's valid for why they don't fuck with each other, it then resulted in one guy having to fall out with all these other people. It seems so unnecessary, really. It really does seem so unnecessary. And I think also, for me, as a fan of hip hop, it kind of took the fun out of the battle, because all these other random side characters got involved. Do you know what I mean? It kind of took the fun out of it. You kind of did want to see. That's why I kind of was a bit upset when Drake waved the white flag, you know, because I wanted to see how far they could push it, how far they could push each other creatively, artistically. I would really wish we would have got more tunes out of it, but Drake waved the white flag, and now we're in fucking the suing era, which I think as well. The suing thing is probably, the lawsuit thing is really bad optics. Obviously, we know why he's doing it. It's not because of Kendrick, but the optics of it just look terrible. And after losing a battle, you're now suing somebody. It's like, oh, come on, Drake, man. I love you, but this is not a good look. But anyway, regardless, that's Drake's op list. Curse at 50 Cent, absolutely hilarious. I love that Rory's on it. Mo isn't on it, obviously. BET Awards, the Grammys. You got Kid Cudi on this list. You got JPEG Mafia, Busta Rhymes, Dave Free, obviously Elliot Wilson, Ebro, Future, Hitter JJ. Or Hitter J3, sorry. Jack Dorsey is on the list as well. Fucking incredible. Serena Williams. Absolutely hilarious. Absolutely hilarious. So big up Drake. Big up 50 Cent. You love to see it. You love to see it. Next we got this, courtesy of Fearbuck. Big up Fearbuck. It says the following. Only Sneako showed up to Jake Future's birthday party, despite him inviting literally everyone he's met. Really sad, to be fair, looking at the pictures. It does look like he put together a little party for himself in a room somewhere with balloons and tables and chairs and shit. Maybe food is gonna come in as well. You had people filming, and only Sneako turned up. You know what this reminds me of? This reminds me of one of my inflection points, one of my villain arc narratives, when I stopped purposely, when I went out of my way to stop having friends. I went out and I kind of purposely made myself unavailable. I kind of became a bit of a recluse. I disappeared from the scene for a little bit. This was kind of during the period where I was kind of doing a lot of parties in Dawson and shit. And I remember putting on a rave for my birthday party with my face on the fly and all this fucking malarkey, and end up booking DJs, booking a venue, all that sort of shit, paying for the flyer, all this mad shit. And when I end up kind of doing the event, only my actual small circle of friends that I called friends, the 5 or 10 people, actually turned up. Everyone else didn't turn up. And I think it got so bad that the venue didn't let me put the party on. So I think only 5 or 10 people turned up, if I'm mistaken, if I remember it correctly, and no one actually showed up, which again, you know, was kind of proof of like, oh, these motherfuckers. I think that at the time, you know, when you're in nightlife early on, you have this weird idea that the people that you're meeting out and about are actually your friends, when really and truly they're not. They never have been, but because their connections are so deep and intense on the dance floor, in the clubs, in the bathrooms when you're fucking sharing multivitamins, in the smoking area when you're fucking, you know, sharing a cigarette or whatever it may be, or if you're swapping saliva on the dance floor and shit, or you're finger banging somebody, wherever, the connection is very deep, it's very intense. And sometimes you have really interesting conversations, blah, 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 very personal ones, very emotional ones. And you can sometimes, you know, be under the illusion that that person is your friend when they're not. And you can sometimes hope, oh shit, that person's going to come to this thing that I do. No. They're going to see you at the dance floor. Usually they're going to see you at the next cool event. So you met them at a cool event. It's unlikely they're going to come to your event because you're not that cool. You went to a cool event, but you're not as cool as you think you are. So when you try to invite them to your birthday party, you quickly realize that, oh, they're not here because this isn't a cool event. This isn't worth going to. Why would they bother? So they're not going to come. But you might see them at a party tomorrow. So that usually is one of the kickers in the teeth. You organize an event for yourself, or you organize an event for your birthday. Your friends who you think are your friends in the scene don't turn up. But then there's an event the following day. You go, and then all those people that didn't turn up yesterday are there today. That's what makes you realize, oh shit, these motherfuckers aren't really my friends, innit? These motherfuckers aren't really my friends. So for Drake Future, I think that's a realization of who his actual boys are. Maybe again, you know, some of these influencers and people that he met over the years, maybe it was hard for them to get there and, you know, support him for his birthday. Who knows? But regardless, this is also a good thing because it makes you, like, you know, maybe you don't need to be like me. You don't need to completely isolate yourself from humanity and kind of disappear and cut off contact with everybody. But maybe it's also important to get like a bit of a wake up call so you realize that, oh shit, these motherfuckers aren't really my friends, and move accordingly. But again, what do I know? Absolutely nothing. Yo, big up Zero Cool on the stream chat. So true. If you want to make a room full of friends, just go to a club or even a bar on a Tuesday morning. They're usually there. You choose to find them. Yeah, that's a really good point. Very, 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 very good point. But I just think in general too, I think like society is the one that's fucked us up with birthdays. I don't think birthdays are meant to be that deep, really and truly. Yes, it's a great opportunity to celebrate, you know, your life and the fact that you've made it another year. But there should be a really quick acknowledgement of your still being here, and it should be very small, very intimate things. But just it's kind of like it's more of a you thing. It's less about other people. You don't really need other people to validate your birthday. Just you. Especially nowadays, the older you get, what do you enjoy? Do you enjoy playing video games? Do you enjoy eating out? Do you enjoy drinking beers? Do you enjoy going to fucking fun fairs or Disney? Whatever the thing that you enjoy to do, just spec a day out on your birthday to do that thing. Double down. So if you enjoy eating out, why not book yourself a fucking, you know, a table for one at some nice restaurant and get yourself some lunch? Why not buy yourself a nice bottle of fucking liquor of your favorite one and pour yourself out a little glass, toast to the fucking universe or to the gods, wherever you fucking, you know, pray to, and have a drink? Why don't you fucking buy yourself a new controller? Buy yourself a new pair of trainers. You know, buy yourself a new tracksuit, a new pair of jeans, some underwear, whatever. It really isn't that deep. That's how birthdays should be. And if you could do that with a buddy, if you could do that with some siblings, with a partner, with a wife, with a whatever, all the well, good for it. But it doesn't need to be this big thing, this like celebration. And I think it's also inherently selfish the older you get to demand people pause and stop their lives and pay all the attention onto you the way you want it. Because maybe sometimes it's good enough for your friends to just see you posted, oh, here's to another spin around the sun. You posting a picture on your Instagram stories holding a fucking champagne flute. Maybe it's enough for your friends to just heart that story. Maybe it's enough for your friends to send a heart emojis on the fucking, you know, Instagram stories. That's perfectly fine. They're acknowledging it's your birthday. They might send you birthday greetings. They might leave a comment on under your fucking picture. But that should be okay. You shouldn't have to require so much out of your friends or people around you to celebrate your birthday. It should be about yours. It's your birthday. What do you like to do? What do you like to do? Just do more of it. Take the time out to treat yourself, to take yourself out, to pamper yourself, get a haircut, whatever it may be. All those things are really important, as opposed to like, oh, I'm about all these people and I'm really nervous. If they don't come, then I don't enjoy my birthday. Like, why are you putting the enjoyment of your birthday in the hands of other people? That doesn't make any sense. You're better off just enjoying it the way you want to enjoy it. If other people want to tag along, bless, but you're doing it for you. Like, you can even put out one of those blasts on social. Hey, I'm going to be at Nando's, celebrating my birthday. I'm going to rock up and get a table. If you want to join, join. People come in, they come through. If they don't, they don't. You know what I mean? It's not that big of a deal. Like, I think people making it, especially the older you get, like, people are busy, man. People have children, they have families, they have pets, they have jobs. You know what I mean? They're looking after sick relatives. Like, everyone's got their thing. So it's like, I don't know, demanding people be present physically at all these things is a bit much. And even these days, especially with FaceTime and shit, like, I don't know, jump on a FaceTime call with somebody that you love or somebody that you care about, you know, celebrate a birthday that way. Not that deep as well. Like, you know, I don't know. It really isn't that deep personally for me. Maybe I'm a little bit weird in that regard because I don't really celebrate birthdays, but I think if you do celebrate them, let's not put all of our hopes and expectations and all our value in other people celebrating it for you. Let's maybe put it in our control, do the things that we enjoy, and then go from there. But again, what do I know? Absolutely nada. Moving on. Big up Lindy Man. Big up Lindy Man. Paul Scalus. Big up Lindy Man. Lindy Man says as follows. Previously, women were just supposed to be hot in their 20s and their 30s. But now the expectation is that they have to be hot all the way up until they die. That's a tough standards. And there's a picture of Demi Moore, courtesy of Film Updates, standing in a picture. Demi Moore is probably, how old is Demi Moore? Demi Moore might be like 50 or something, or maybe 60. Demi Moore age. How old is she? She's 62 years old, and she looks the way that she looks. I completely disagree with this point from, Lindy Man. I don't think this is society. I think this is just women doing what women want to do. Women are the one that place these unfair beauty standards on themselves. I personally don't think there are men who are placing these unfair beauty standards on women. Yes, there are men who specifically go after younger women, and maybe some older women feel like they have to compete. But I don't think those men want older women to look younger. They just want younger women. I think that's a mistake. I think those guys who like, who live in like the manosphere, who are like red-pilled, those dudes who like Andrew Tate, those dudes that like fucking Fresh and Fit, those dudes that believe in buying Lambos to bag baddies and shit, all those type of guys, I don't think they want older women to look as hot as the 22-year-olds. They just want a constant fucking flow of virgin 19 to 25-year-olds that they can kind of, indoctrinate and plow. They don't want older ladies at all. So it's not like the old ladies, they're competing with these younger girls in their own head. They're the ones who are putting themselves in the arena of competing with those younger girls. I think most regular dudes don't give a fuck. They don't really don't care. Either they're into older ladies or they're not, or people of their age, or they're into younger ones, but they're not expecting the older lady to be the same way as some like ditzy, inexperienced, naive, maybe not as mature 18, 19-year-old. It's not like that at all. So I think the sad thing about this is that this would require women to kind of, step out of the arena and be okay with kind of growing old gracefully. But, it's just the nature of the beast. It kind of is what it is. You kind of see a lot on social nowadays, like, especially with older ladies, like this refusal, like the refusal to just not be hot is a big thing. But it also must be quite nice too, the feeling. I understand why I don't let it go. Like if you're a woman and you're quite attractive and you've always got attention on social, it can be very hard to kind of like be okay to grow old gracefully and stop being hot. Or stop, presenting yourself as hot online. It can be really hard to stop doing that because why not? It's a good dopamine hit, you know what I mean? You get all these likes, you're getting random people sending you heart eye emojis in the fucking IG DMs and stuff. It can make you probably feel quite good. But there has to be a point where you decide to tap out because eventually, if you don't decide, society's going to decide for you. Society's going to say, hey, you are expired. You're no longer the one. You're no longer it. And that's probably going to hurt way more. That'll probably hurt way more an older lady's psyche to see that she's not as desired as this young up-and-coming 19, 20, 21-year-old. So you're probably better off just deciding, you know what? I'm going to stop. I'm going to pull out. Now, in Demi Moore's case, it's a bit different because Demi Moore is a actor, attractive person. She's always been, it's part of her brand. So maybe this is a bit different because you kind of have to, keep up appearances because it's what you're known for, your looks and shit. But I think in general, regular, normie, everyday women, I think, it's not society placing these unfair standards, I think, or expectations. It's more so women placing expectations on themselves. And the sooner they let go, especially the older you get, the better. Now, you don't have to let go of your looks and look all slobby and shit and bad. I just mean let go in terms of competing. It's not necessary. It really isn't. But, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I am wrong. Who knows? Who knows? We continue. So, update on Lilly Phillips. I've told you previously, I'm fascinated with Lilly Phillips. I'm fascinated with the discourse around her. And there's been a bunch of people who have been opining, sharing some of their opinions about Lilly Phillips based on this documentary by this guy called Josh Peters that's available now on YouTube. I think it's called like I Slept With Over 100 Men in a Day. It's a 47-minute plus documentary. I'm probably going to watch it later and react to it. But everyone's got some thoughts and opinions on it because in this documentary, Lilly Phillips kind of breaks. She kind of seems like she has a bit of a crisis in confidence. She kind of hits a bit of a wall. She kind of gets very emotional. And it seems like she's almost regretting her lifestyle choices and the direction that she's kind of gone in her life with doing this whole like challenge to fuck as many guys in a day and film all the footage and put it on OnlyFans. I personally am a little bit disappointed in it, personally. Maybe because I'm a bit of a psycho, but bear with me here. I'm disappointed in it because I would love to live in a world where there are people that can do what Lilly Phillips was doing and her other friend who also does this thing and do it with bare chest and be nonplussed about it, have no fucking crisis of confidence, have no sobbing into your pillow, have no fucking moment where they're like, oh my God, I have to reconsider anything, and it's just perfectly okay. That's their lifestyle. I'm sure they exist. I'm sure those people do exist. I'm sure they do exist because I think if a person exists who's very vanilla and only has missionary sex and only smashes their wife and doesn't do anything risque, there has to be the opposite. There has to be the person who goes and sucks and fucks everything that moves and can't get enough of it and needs to do it every single time. There has to be. There has to be, if there's one thing, there has to be the opposite. That's my personal opinion. So it is quite disappointing to see that maybe this kind of front she put up is a bit of a front and it's now kind of crumbling down. But maybe it's also a pressure from the outside. Maybe she's also hearing a lot of the naysayers, a lot of the criticism around her because she's also unfortunate because she's from the UK. I said it prior about that lady that got caught smashing the prison inmate. I think her name, I forgot her name, but she's some Portuguese lady, right? She essentially got kicked out of the country. She essentially got chased out of the country last time I remember. I think she went back to Portugal and shit. But I think if that lady who smashed that cellmate in the prison cell and the guy was filming it and everyone's like, oh my God, this is so hot, whatever it may be. If this happened in America, that girl would have been super famous. She would have probably ended up on a reality TV show. She would have had a really popping OnlyFans. She might end up a judge on a talent show. She might have ended up on some other reality TV show, maybe about love. She would have fucking a million documentaries about her. She would have been on all the big podcasts. But in the UK, we're very puritanical. We're very fucking fuddy-duddy and boring. So it's no surprise that Lilly Phillips is maybe having this psychic break because she's hearing so many naysayers, so many people basically against her lifestyle. Even people that she thought would be for it are against it because our kind of, the world, the country that we live in doesn't really promote this type of whorish activities. We don't really celebrate whores the same way North America and other places in the world do. We don't really do it, unfortunately for her. So maybe that's why she's having this kind of moment, because she just can't stop. She can't ignore some of the criticism that's coming her way because it's just like a tsunami. It just never stops. Who knows? But anyway, let's go through some of the things people have been saying. This person said as follows: I think to the end, she expected someone to save her. I think to the end, she expected someone to save her, Lilly Phillips. She was young, pretty, and wealthy, and surely if she just kept publicly rushing towards the cliff, a friend, an ex-boyfriend, a secret admirer, a male relative, an interviewer will stop her and force her to have a life, but no one did. Again, I don't think that's true. I don't think somebody that wants to live their life this way, where they try and fuck as many guys as possible in a day and film all that footage for OnlyFans, is looking to be saved. They just enjoy doing it, and it's an easy way to make money. That could also be the reason. Like, it doesn't have to be such a convoluted explanation. It doesn't have to, because if I'm not mistaken, Lilly Phillips and the other girl, Something Blue, they both have parents in their lives. Their parents aren't divorced. Their parents are in their lives. I think in both cases, both sets of parents help these girls with the fucking tasks that they do. They help manage their OnlyFans. They make signs for them when they're going out to try and elicit kind of more people to kind of take part in their challenges and shit. So it's not like they don't have a good support system around them. They come from good families, good backgrounds, good neighborhoods. So it's not like they are broken people who are looking to be fixed or need some hole to be filled, no pun intended. They just enjoy fucking. They enjoy fucking, they enjoy recording it, they get a kick out of it, and it makes a ton of money. That's it. So I feel like this whole narrative about being saved is a little bit like, I don't think that's true. Again, my personal opinion. I could be wrong, but who knows? Another person says as follows: Lilly Phillips reflects on her sadness of sleeping with 100 guys in one day. She's responsible for her own behavior in this sick stunt. 2, it's also clear OnlyFans have turned women into plastic dolls, and the models themselves have brought this heartbreaking lie. Ban OnlyFans now. I don't think it's a fault of OnlyFans that this is occurring. I think people are always going to watch porn. People are always going to be obsessed with adult entertainment. Are always going to be obsessed with people who have like high sex drives or who are incredibly promiscuous, who are nymphos, wherever it may be. It's obviously the proof's in the pudding, because a lot of these girls are making a lot of money. And I don't believe for one moment that a lot of these girls are just, their lives are propped up by one really rich whale. There are a ton of people around the world who are basically, supporting these girls' lifestyles and paying for subscriptions and, curated content and whatever it may be, because they enjoy it. So basically a bunch of guys around the world, women as well, probably enjoy this type of content. So I don't think the banning on OF is going to stop anything. If anything, you ban OF, another application service, another thing is going to come up in its place and take over anyway. I don't think banning OF changes anything, in my personal opinion. I could be wrong, but I don't think banning OF is actually going to sort the issue. But let's watch the clip anyway. Let's watch the clip. It says Lilly Phillips breaks down in tears while reflecting on sleeping with 100 men in 24 hours. This is a clip from the documentary. I haven't watched it yet, the whole documentary, but the documentary seems fascinating. I need to watch it and react to it. But big up Lilly Phillips in general. Let's see her have a breakdown and kind of realize maybe what she's doing might not be the best thing going forward for her life. Let's see what she says.
I think sometimes like feeling so like robotic, like by the 30th, when we're getting on a bit, I've got like a routine of like how we're gonna do this, and like it just sometimes you'd like disassociate and be like, like it's not like normal things at all. In my head right now, I can think of like 5, 6 guys, 10 guys that I remember, and that's it.
Yeesh.
But it's just, I don't know, it's just weird, isn't it? Like, if I didn't have the videos, I wouldn't have known I've done 100, you know?
Wow.
But yeah.
I wonder why she remembers.
I think that was kind of the hard part, is like conversing with them, and like when they'd kind of be like, oh, like we've only had 2 minutes or 3 minutes and you said 5 on the message.
Did someone say that to you?
Yeah.
Ooh.
And obviously it just makes me feel so bad.
Do you think you should feel bad about that?
I guess when you've promised something to people who support you, it's kind of hard to let them down.
But it's up to you, right? Like, you know,
Yeah.
Fair play. She's
Have you
very
even
sweet.
processed, do you think, what's happened?
Not yet. God, I won't forget this day, Jesus.
When I decided to start making this documentary, I wasn't too sure of what to expect. I certainly didn't expect to see Lilly so upset at the end of it all.
So she's disappointed that she didn't give the guys as much time as she promised she would. She said 5 minutes, some guys only got 2. And she feels like she let some of these guys down. And she feels like she wouldn't have remembered whatever happened unless there was video footage, because there's so many guys. She could only physically, or she could only like mentally remember 5 or 10 people. It's kind of dark, isn't it? It's kind of dark. I'm not going to lie. You know what's really interesting about this, though? You know what's really interesting? I had a former friend, right? And fuck her for life, by the way. Fuck her for life. But I had a former friend, this whore, whose name might begin with a C and might rhyme with or. But I had this friend once who, at the time, she was doing this like social experiment thing where she would like she had like a spreadsheet, and she would put down all the sexual experiences that she had, and she then would share some of that sheet with other people and tell people to put down their things. So you had different names on it, and the idea behind it, she was meant to do some sort of like art piece, some sort of contemporary art presentation, video piece, whatever. I don't think it went anywhere. But regardless, I remember we had this conversation once where she was talking to me about how she gets annoyed when girls give her that kind of talk about, you can't be as promiscuous like this is not good for you, you have to settle down and find someone you love and blah blah blah. And I remember her arguing against it very like viscerally and kind of very enthusiastically and very confidently that I'm different, I can do this, I can fuck as many guys as I want, I can fuck 17 guys in one day, wherever it may be, I can go to a rave and suck and fuck whoever, it doesn't matter, because this is what I choose to do with my body at that particular time. And I remember she was very, very, steadfast about this. The funny thing is, the last time I spoke to this dickhead, the last time I spoke to her, she'd moved to another country and is now living with some guy, doing whatever they're doing. So clearly, what her friends told her back then had some element of truth to it. But I'm curious, like, why that is the case. Why does it seem the case that guys, like men, could be married with kids, go to Bulgaria, go to Thailand, smash 1 million ladyboys, 1 million fucking ladies of the night, 1 million whores and prozzies and stuff, and go back home and kiss their wives and their kids and put their kids into bed and act like nothing ever happened and not fucking skip a heartbeat? Why can dudes do it and women can't? That's the thing I'm fascinated by. Like, why does it not seem that common? I'm sure there are some women that exist who can be in the streets, who can be doing the things that guys do the same way, I'm sure. But this girl is proof that there seems to be a block in the ability of women to go through as many sexual partners as guys do. Somebody said on social media, part of the issue might be physiology. The idea that guys are the one doing the penetrating and women are the ones that are receiving the penetration. Maybe there's something about that is kind of changes the function or changes how sex is and shit. I don't know. Or maybe it's just generally like the soul ties. It's something I remember when you're a kid, it's funny when you get older. A lot of the things your parents told you when you're younger starts to come back. You start to realize, you know what, they had a point. But I remember back in the day when your parents would try to dissuade you from, you know, having sex and doing all that sort of shit when you're younger, especially if you grow up in a Christian home. A lot of the things was like, oh yeah, soul ties. You don't want to be putting yourself out there and be connected to all these different people that you've kind of inserted yourself into, and you've left a bit of yourself in them, and they're all over the place. You don't know what sort of malicious intent they may have, and blah 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 blah. So I can imagine if you transpose that into a woman, into a young girl, that can be, especially when you're growing and you're maturing and you're trying to figure out life and you're not sure where to go, kids, whatever, it can be quite, you know, fucked up. And also just think of it like health-wise. I look at Lilly Phillips, and I don't know about you guys, but every time I look at Lilly Phillips, she looks rather sickly. She always looks like she always looks a bit sickly. She always looks like she's got constant pink eye. She's always got ulcers around her lips. Her skin on her face is always full of spots and stuff. So I wonder if there's like something about that also, like all these people who are kind of, for lack of a better term, inside of you from all walks of life, and no real background checks, no medical checks apart from them wearing a condom. It can be probably impossible not to have a lot of their vibe, a lot of their, you know, whatever, their spirits, they're fucking inside of you, and it can fuck up your whole physiology and your whole insides and whatever it may be. I don't know, but it's fascinating. It's fascinating to see this girl who was very cocksure, very confident about what she was doing, very boastful. She was talking about that 1,000 challenge she was meant to do, which she hasn't really spoken about since, which might be, you know, tied in with this kind of crisis and confidence she's having at the moment. It's all seemed to change. Which I'm now curious to see what her friend's gonna do, because her friend was also as boisterous and as confident as cocksure as her. I think her friend at one point said, "Oh, I'm actually doing people a service. I'm actually helping humanity. I'm actually saving young men. I'm actually helping them. I'm actually making their lives better because I'm here providing them with this service so that they can find out how to actually sleep with women properly and blah 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 blah." I don't know, man. I don't know how it's gonna play out, but it's fascinating to watch from the outside in. It really is. I'll definitely check out this guy's documentary in full, but it seems like Lilly Phillips is having a bit of a meltdown, a bit of a crisis in confidence and shit, and she's not being able to kind of, you know, wrangle in her head what she's doing, and she feels like, and again, which is fucking bizarre, she feels like she's letting people down. Imagine. She feels like she's letting people down. She actually feels bad that she's not able to give more of her time to these fucking random freaks who are flying all across the country, all across the world to try and come and fuck her. It's absolutely wild. But yeah, big up Lilly Phillips. Big up the person who made the documentary. I think his name is like Josh Pieters or something like that. Josh Peters. So big up him as well. The documentary is available on his YouTube, I think. So check out him as well. And I'm going to probably watch it in full at some point. I also wanted to check some comments, actually. Courtesy of Shadeborough. Big up Shadeborough. I want to actually see what the people are saying about Lilly Phillips. What are the people saying? About Lilly Phillips? Let me actually refresh the screen, because I'm really curious to see what the people out there are saying about Lilly Phillips, especially people in the Shadeborough comments, because they can be very puritanical and kind of boring. So let's see what these motherfuckers are saying about Lilly Phillips. I'm curious. So regarding the video we just watched, what they're saying here. One person says, "Where is the empowerment in this? I pray she heals from this," which is probably not likely. There is no healing. You know, you just kind of make it work, or you don't. I don't think healing exists in this world, but I could be wrong. Another person says, "You would think this is a survivor story. This was her decision. I'm baffled." Another one says she's acting like somebody forced her to do it. Another one says her family need to get her into a therapy ASAP. She's in a dark place. All the soul ties are getting to her. Another person says, "Listen, the word threw me to the lions for less, and the only thing, no, listen, the world threw me to the lions for less, and the only thing that was going to make a song about my mistakes in life. I don't know. The difference in skin tone might mean that," oh, shut up, this person. Another person says, "I'm sorry. She's acting like she's doing this against her free will, and that she didn't set up her own OnlyFans page. She hasn't been enjoying the milli in her bank, and she can't delete it or stop it whenever she wants. Get off my timeline, man. SMH. Let's focus on efforts on our women in war, in poverty, that go through this. No way out. Safe Palestine, Congo, Lebanon." Okay, shut up. Okay, shut up, social justice warrior. Fuck off. Another person says here, I hope she gets the help she needs. This is really, really sad. No way she's manipulating you guys into feeling bad for her. She literally doing 1,000 men next month. I'd feel bad if she gonna stop and actually regretted it. This is such a bizarre clip. Literally nobody forced her to do this and she has to plan to do more. I hope she finds help. She's traumatized herself and now she wants to feel... I don't think she's trying to make people feel sorry for her. She's just talking about her experiences, right? She's feeling like she let some people down. She might be having a crisis of confidence in what's going on, but I don't think she's trying to make people feel bad for her. From what I understand, I don't know, I could be wrong. I pray she finds God. She probably won't. Another one says, well, you sell your soul to money. This is what happens. Money isn't everything. Some people think some simple things in life are just priceless. Simple are just being at peace. Being at peace is overrated. Sometimes money helps, man. Sometimes people are fairly okay with living their life based on money and shit, and they do pretty okay for themselves. I think that's a cope for people that don't have money. People that don't have money love to cope and say, "Oh yeah, money isn't everything." Sometimes it is, you know. Sometimes it is. Another one says, "White blonde damsel in distress. Sorry, she won't be getting no tears from me." I don't think she's asking for your tears, bro. I think she's just sharing her experiences in the documentary. I feel like this is a form of self-harm. The woman needs help. Sex is spiritual. 100 different energies will definitely affect your soul. I agree with that one. Serves you right for not inviting men. But that's what I'm saying though. Why can men do sex and it be not spiritual and it just be a function of busting a load, but women can't? I would love somebody to make a documentary about that. I'm fascinated to find out why doesn't it seem possible. Like it seems like even porn stars retire, strippers retire, escorts retire. You know what I mean? They all retire, like not even to start family, just to kind of live a normal life. So why is it women have? And I think there's actually a point in this. I think this actually relates back to like pimping. If I'm not mistaken, isn't like the caricature or the stereotype of a pimp that they basically, the idea is that you break a girl down, right? In terms of like trying to get her to kind of do what you want and be a part of your harem, or be a part of your kind of, you know, range of girls that you offer on the streets. But isn't there something that I remember seeing about pimps having an innate understanding of a woman's kind of like maximum? So they can look at a woman and kind of figure out how many she can do, like how many guys she can do, like how long can she do this for, and they can kind of discard her when they feel like she can't do anymore. So if pimps are aware that women have a limit or number, why don't guys seem to have a number? And I say that as a black guy, as an African guy. I know a ton of dudes in my family, ton of friends in my social group, black dudes who fucking, their numbers are in the fucking double-digit thousands, right? High numbers, you know, crazy amounts. And they seem perfectly fine, like perfectly okay. They don't have any like, you know, crises. If some of them have all daughters too, they don't wake up in cold sweats. They're perfectly okay. Perfectly okay. So why can dudes do it but women can't? I'm fascinated by it. Truly am fascinated by it. It continues. What happened to wanting to do 1,000 a day? She needs help because this isn't normal. 1 minute she's bragging, the next minute she's a victim. Stop giving this one attention. No, I think it's perfectly okay to brag 1 minute and to cry with the next. At least she's being honest and vulnerable. She's not putting up a front. I don't mind that. I don't mind that she's kind of showing how it was, because in the beginning, I'm sure the money probably helped. You know, especially the ease at which it comes, right? No pun intended. It probably helped to kind of soothe some of her kind of mental anguish. But over time, now that it's become the norm, you know, the money's probably not as like soothing as it once was. But I do like that she's being vulnerable and open and sharing, you know, and be like, you know what, at one point I was quite confident and cocksure about this, but now I'm not too sure if I do want any more cocks in me. Fair play. It continues. She don't need to bring Jesus into her fake white privilege struggle. Again, with the race thing, I don't know if it has anything to do with anything, but whatever. Does this solidify the theory that women who sleep around are more likely to suffer from depression? Is that a theory? There's a theory that women who sleep around, I don't think that applies to only women. That must apply to everybody, probably. But I'm still fascinated why it seems to disproportionately affect women more. Maybe because of the whole, like, you know, idea of having a family and whatever, maybe. and obviously women have a limit as to how long they can do that, and the ability to have kids in the first place is also limited by their physiology and shit. But I don't think that's specifically a woman thing. I don't know. I'm not sure if that's true. It continues. Will give her shoulder. Oh, UK rap numbers will give her a shoulder to cry on. Tut tut. Moving on. If this was a woman of color, nobody would have any sympathy for her. What the fuck does this even mean? Like, what are these like? What? Huh? Like, maybe culturally, it just wouldn't happen with a woman of color anyway, right? This kind of confidence to talk about this stuff out open, because some of us don't even talk about sex with our parents. So let's doing this sort of shit. So I don't understand this race comments, always inserting it. Just like muddies the waters unnecessarily, doesn't really add anything to the conversation. This isn't really a matter of race. It's just a matter of like genders really, and kind of understanding why certain things happen, don't happen. But again, I could be wrong. Why is she crying? She needs to keep Jesus' name out of her mouth. She's trauma. She's crying because she didn't give 100 men more time in her Nani KMT. I can't believe 100 men were willing to do this. Like they should get the same backup. No, they shouldn't. No, they shouldn't, man. Let them do what they want to do, man. Like, let them do what they want to do. Everyone's shouting it was her own will, her own free will, sorry. She would choose her decisions. Yes, she did. But self-harm also comes in many different forms. But again, I don't understand this, like, how can I say this properly? What's this need that everyone has to save people? Maybe it's my opinion from COVID. I remember when COVID was happening, there was this like drive from the government for like 0 deaths. You remember that? And I kept thinking to myself, like, how are you going to avoid people dying? Like, how is that possible? How can you stop people from dying from a fucking virus? Like, how does that make any sense? How is that possible? And why do our society, why do we constantly feel like we need to save people? Why can't we just watch people crash out and enjoy the shit show? Why does everyone need to be saved? Why is everyone deserving of saving? Why can't people decide to choose to live their life, however destructive, however detrimental, however hurtful, however destructive? Why can't they just choose to live it that way? Most of us know what not to do. If they choose to do that thing, let them do it. Watch the shit show. Why are we trying to get on our moral high horse and trying to fucking give advice and help? It's like, bruh, do you not think she has good people around her? Do you think she's surrounded by total shitheads? Do you not think she has like, at least like one sensible, down to earth, good head on their shoulders person around her who can give her good advice? Yes, but does she listen? No. So if she doesn't listen, just let her fucking do her thing. Why are people out here fucking trying to save everyone? Like, I don't get this. It's a weird thing that everyone has to save. It's like, bruh, let the shit show play out the way it plays out. It really is. That's what I have to say about it. But again, I could be wrong. Maybe I'm mean. Maybe I'm callous. I don't really know. I don't really care. But we have to move on to this story. This story breaks my heart. This story breaks my heart for all people concerned. Because based on the headline, Liam Payne's death, a judge charges 2 more hotel workers and calls for suspect interrogation. I personally think this is really unfair on the hotel workers. I obviously understand that it's a complete tragedy what happened to Liam Payne, but let's also be real. We were all on social media. We all saw how this guy was crashing out in real time, clearly going through a bit of a crisis, clearly having troubles mentally, and was trying to soothe his pain via drugs and going out and drinking and whatever it may be. There was reports allegedly of some girl that was writing a book, a tell-all book about her bad experience with him. A lot of other girls were popping up and saying that he might have been a little bit, mean and a little bit handsy, a little bit abusey, a little bit creepy, a little bit sex pesty to them in public and whatever it may be. So there was a catalogue of things happening that kind of led to him unfortunate passing. But I don't think it's fair to blame the hotel workers who he asked to procure drugs for him when he was out in Argentina for his death. He was responsible for himself. He didn't take care of himself. He was crashing out, going a bit crazy. Maybe he was bored. Maybe he was depressed. Maybe he was whatever. Who knows? But I think it's really unfair that the hotel workers are being blamed for his death. Maybe you can blame the building, whoever owns the building, because that balcony that he was on in Argentina, that balcony was very, very low. Usually most hotels, they have like nets around them, or the fence is really high so you can't fall over it easily. But that balcony kind of like ledge thing was very, very low. He could have, anyone could have fell over on that thing. Maybe if you're chasing the ball, if you're playing around, you could have easily stumbled up and fell. So I think whoever managed that building probably maybe should be blamed a bit for the death. But the hotel workers that may have procured the drugs from him, I think it's completely unfair that they get blamed for his death. The only way it can make sense why the hotel workers could be blamed and could be charged might be if the drugs were laced with fentanyl. Like, that's the only way. If they willingly sold him drugs that are laced with fentanyl, which then led to him falling, which then led to his death, cool. But if they were just hotel workers, like, this happens all over the world. I'm imagining all over the world, especially in regions like, South America, celebrities go to stay in hotels, and for the most part, will probably go to cocktail bars, go to clubs, will go to hotel lobbies and ask the bellboys, the receptionists, whoever they are, hey, do you know somebody who can get me so-and-so? That's the kind of the world we live in. Everyone knows that's a fact. So many hotel workers out there are known to procure, adult substances for, adults to enjoy who might be celebrities and shit. For hotel workers to be blamed for this, I think is totally, in my humble opinion, really, really, really unfair. But again, I could be wrong. Bear me 1 second. Okay, let's continue and read the article here, courtesy of the Rolling Stone. Liam Payne death, judge charges 2 more hotel workers and calls for a suspect interrogations. So let's read the article. 2 months after his death, the investigation surrounding Liam Payne's fatal fall at the Buenos Aires hotel continues to unravel. According to new documents obtained by Rolling Stone, the judge in the case is weighing charges against 2 workers, including a receptionist head who called 911, and the judge has called for a suspects in the case to be questioned as part of the investigation. According to the new filing on Monday, the judge in the case lists Casa Sur Palermo manager and his receptionist head who called 911 as imputados, or people charged in the case. The document asks that the 2 parties be notified of their accusations, although it does not list what they're being charged for. Since this is a sufficient reason to suspect that they have participated in the investigated act, we ask that the following people give a statement, reads the document, before listing each person associated in the case. 2 individuals accused of serving Payne drugs will be interrogated on December 17th, 10 a.m. and 11 a.m. respectively. Payne's friend accused of abandonment of a person followed by death will be questioned on December 18th at 10 a.m. and both hotel employees will also face a court on December 19th at 10 a.m. and 11 a.m. The suspects may refuse to answer questions via their attorneys. According to the Buenos Aires system, after the interrogation, the judge must determine whether the defendant should be further prosecuted, dropped from the case, or if it isn't evidentiary support for either decision. As of Tuesday morning, the hotel receptionist head continues to work at Casa Sur. He made 2 911 calls around the time of Payne's death on October 16th. In one call, he mentioned that to the dispatcher that a guest had too many drugs and alcohol, trashing the entire room. In a second call, he warned that the guest's life may be in danger. At one point in the second call, the receptionist asked, "Are you sending police as well or not?" After the dispatcher mentioned that yes, the police will join the same. The Argentine Emergency Services, he too replied, no, just the same. Payne died of multiple traumas, internal and external bleeding, and a cranial injury as a result of the fall from the 3rd floor of the Casa Sur Hotel in Palermo, Hollywood, in October 16th. 3 people, a friend of Payne, a hotel worker, and an alleged drug dealer, are currently being investigated in relation to his death. Again, unfortunate death, really unfortunate. They say that allegedly he was asleep or he was unconscious when he fell. So that might bring some, that might soothe the pain that some of his family and friends might feel, because it feels like it might have been a painless death. But still, a tragic way for someone like him to go out, especially so young, especially with so much ahead of his life. But I feel like blaming the hotel workers and charging them for him and what happened is just really, really, really unfair. Tragic situation all around. Yes, drugs are bad, whatever it may be, but people are doing them. Celebrities procure them in hotels all the time for hotel workers. And if somebody, does too much and goes off the reservation and goes a bit crazy, it's not their fault. Especially when it was clear that they were going to this point. He was on social media doing a lot of wild stuff, a lot of crazy stuff, a lot of weird stuff. Maybe he wasn't listening to his friends and family who were trying to maybe tell him to chill. I don't know. but he ended up in Argentina, and it didn't obviously end well in the end. But I think it's really, really unfair that the hotel workers are being charged for it. But again, I could be wrong. I could be wrong. Continuing on. Let's talk a bit about this. Joe Budden deciding to take the day off. So if you don't know, Jay-Z obviously is being accused of, in this civil lawsuit, of allegedly R-wording a 13-year-old girl back in 2000 with Diddy. That is all obviously comes off the back of the Diddy allegations and the whole Cassie thing and the idea that he's, you know, this really big monster and stuff, and he was doing all these crazy freak-offs, and some of the freak-offs involved hurting underage people, hurting men, hurting women, whatever it may be, and people are coming out and kind of sharing their piece. Now, for the longest time, people were also saying, what about Jay-Z? Because for a long time, Jay-Z and Diddy were quite close business partners. They've been seen in pictures together. Jay-Z's attended a bunch of Diddy's parties. He's a prominent rich person. And I guess people were just kind of looking for the next person to kind of fall, the next big icon to kind of tumble. And now it's come out that Jay-Z is being put in the same category as Diddy. He's been accused in a civil lawsuit by Jane Doe that he did, in fact, rape allegedly a 13-year-old. People are now looking and thinking, oh, wow, this is fucking crazy. So now people are talking about it in media. But it seems like there's a certain segment of hip-hop media that's refusing to talk about it or refusing to even entertain the idea that Jay-Z may be guilty of these alleged crimes. Which is funny because these very same people were the ones who were quick to believe the accusations when Kendrick was going through the battle with Drake about Drake being a PDF. And these are also the same people who were very hesitant to believe when Drake said the things about Kendrick allegedly hitting his baby mother, allegedly being into, you know, white girls and not being committed to his family, and allegedly maybe having a kid that wasn't his and that was his manager's. All that stuff was beyond belief. That couldn't be believed. That was obviously not true. But people were very quick to believe the Drake things. And in this particular scenario, when the Diddy accusations came out, people were very quick to believe the Diddy allegations without much proof. But then as soon as Jay-Z thing comes out, people don't want to believe it, and they want to let the courts decide, and they think that people are sharing information, are besmirching a great man, all this from malarkey. And Joe Budden's a really bad example about this, because I've been a fan of Joe Budden podcast for a long time. I stopped listening to Joe Budden podcast when Joe, you know, unceremoniously got rid of Rory and Moore. Personally, for me, because I had a parasocial relationship with the podcast, and because I was very much involved in it, and I was very, you know, attached to it, and I believed all the stuff that they guys were saying about being for the creators and being for the community and inspiring, all this sort of rah-rah nonsense at the time that I was listening to it. Yes, I know I'm a fucking idiot, and I'm a simp, and I'm a naive, gullible guy, but let me dream. At the time when I had that parasocial relationship with Joe Budden and the whole podcast, it was a real kind of hurt me personally when to see him kind of ditch his friends like that. Because before the podcast, I wasn't a big fan of Joe Budden. I thought he was a bit of a cunt. I thought he was a bit of a prick. So when the podcast came about, it was a rare opportunity where you got to see somebody who a lot of people didn't like in a good light because he was sitting next to his friends, quote unquote, who he grew up with, or people that he was very close to. So they brought out a different side in Joe Budden. I'm sure a lot of people would agree. Maybe there are some Joe Budden sycophants out there, but I think a lot of people didn't like Joe Budden before the Joe Budden podcast. We all liked him more when, you know, our His podcast later started and obviously transitioned to Joe Budden podcast. So we kind of attributed this new version of Joe that we loved with the podcast. That involved everybody. That involved Parks, that involved Rory, that involved Moore, that involved Savon, Scream Man, involved everybody. Everybody was involved in basically this new version of Joe that we all love. But we also loved the fact that he was kind of bringing all his friends along. It kind of felt like the Entourage. It kind of felt like a real life version of Entourage, podcast Entourage. And it also was a weird time because it kind of felt like it was a changing of the guard. Podcasting was becoming the new type of media. People were maybe being a bit more obsessed with podcasters than they were with artists. They were, you know, very interesting debates. If you're working a 9 to 5 like I was back then, they served as incredible good background noise and distractions and soundtracks for your working day, and they made shitty, horrible, mundane jobs somewhat worthwhile and somewhat to look forward to because you got the opportunity to listen to 6-hour, 4-hour podcasts and shit. I fucking loved it. But when Joe Budden got rid of Rory and Moore, the way he got rid of them and the way and the thing that he said to them and how he acted like they didn't contribute anything to his success, and the fact that he dismissed them and kind of gaslit the audience and there was a cunt about it and whatever it may be, it kind of put me off the podcast completely. And I have to be honest, I haven't listened to a single full episode of Joe Budden podcast since then. I've seen obviously clips online. I've maybe reacted to some stuff I've seen on YouTube, but I haven't listened to a single full episode of Joe Budden podcast since that time. Now, the funny thing is, if you're an OG Joe Budden fan, you would know he only started to get respect from his peers in hip hop. He only started to get respect from his colleagues, from his fellow artists in hip hop when the podcast started booming. When the podcast started booming and started going off and he started to get big interviews and big numbers and loads of money, that's when people started to give him respect. So it's really odd how he acts like this, where he says this, he put this post out, basically saying he's taking a day off and not recording the pod, because the pod I think that got released today was the pod that they were going to speak about the Jay-Z allegations. So it seems convenient that on this exact day, when they were meant to record the Joe Budden podcast discussing the Jay-Z shit, Joe Budden suddenly has a personal family emergency and he can't record, which means now he can't talk about the Jay-Z shit, and now one kind of news cycle goes out of the way. So by the time he does come back, he won't need to share his opinions and he don't need to kind of ruin his fucking industry relationships. Fucking crazy. Let's read the caption. This is a tweet from today. It says, no need for think pieces, guys. I'm dealing with a personal family matter. Please allow me to do so personally. Super grateful to each member of the crew for holding it down in my absence. Thank you. So don't you find how convenient, like insert Cardi B meme. How convenient is that? How convenient is that on the day that you have to talk about Jay-Z, suddenly now one of the premier members of the Hovengers cannot talk about him because you have a family emergency. This is Joe Budden, the guy that doesn't let anything get in the way of podcasting. Doesn't believe in not turning up for your job. Now suddenly he's not turning up to do his job, which is talk and shout and rant on the fucking microphone, because big bad Jay-Z, big bad Hove is now in a bit of spot of bother. He doesn't want to comment on it. And the funny thing about this is that I would be okay with this if these guys were just honest about not even their biases, but maybe their biases. Yeah, maybe they're biased, and just say, hey, I'm a bit compromised. I'm a bit biased. Jay-Z's my guy. He's been my hero for a long time. My favorite MC, blah, 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 blah. I got jobs because of it. Whatever they want to say, and I'm not going to comment on it. People will respect that way more. But these guys act like they're like untethered, unfiltered. I say what I want, raw. You're always going to get the real opinion from me, blah, 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 blah. But then when it comes to the point where you need the real opinion from them, when, you know, people are kind of, you know, wondering what he's going to say on this topic, whether it's, you know, defending Jay or not, suddenly I can't comment on it. Suddenly I want to protect my industry connects. And the really odd thing about this Jay-Z thing as well is that if I'm not mistaken, Jay-Z and Joe aren't even cool. Didn't Jay-Z diss Joe Budden back in the day? That's where the whole pump it up law happened. If I'm not mistaken, whoever made Pump It Up, whether it was Just Blaze or Scott Storch, and I forgot who the producer was, allegedly that person who made the Pump It Up beat offered that beat to Jay-Z first. Jay-Z turned it down. That beat then ends up in Joe Budden's hands, and Pump It Up becomes this hit record that what it becomes. When it becomes a hit record, at the time, Joe Budden is signed to Def Jam. And obviously, Jay-Z was on Def Jam. Joe Budden asks one of his favorite MCs at the time, hey, get on my record. Jay-Z says no, turns it down. Joe Budden feels a little bit slighted, doesn't care, keeps on keeping on. But then unbeknownst to Joe Budden, behind his back, Jay-Z records a remix to Pump It Up, not telling Joe, not putting Joe on the remix, by the way, completely his own, like, this is like a, back in the day remixes were kind of like that too. You just jump on the instrumental and rip through it. He jumps on the instrumental, doesn't put Joe on it, and in the fucking remix of Pump It Up, he disses Joe Budden. So it's funny to see Joe running cover for somebody who isn't really his friend, doesn't really fuck with him that much, probably looks at him like he's a peon. And also it's funny that he's doing this with these powerful people who didn't give a fuck about him before the podcast was successful. I find it absolutely funny, hilarious, and wild. And especially when it comes to like how these guys look at other men. Like this refusal to like talk about other men because they're rich and they have money, especially in the black community, especially in the hip hop community and stuff, is very bizarre. This idea that, oh no, he can't have done this. Jay-Z couldn't have done what they're accusing him of because he's very rich, he's very powerful, he's quiet, he moves in silence, he's very private. All this, like, what? Like, what do you know he gets? Like, what? Like, if you had to ask me, you know, hand on heart, gun to head, do I think Jay-Z R-worded a 13-year-old? Probably not. But do I think it's possible? Yes. Of course. I don't know what he gets up to behind closed doors. I'm not there when he's not, you know, doing whatever he's doing. I'm not there at these certain parties, whatever. But these guys can't even fathom. They can't even fathom that it's a possibility just because the person's rich. Just because the person's rich. Can you imagine that? Oh no, he can't have done it because he has money. It's like, what? How is that possible? Anyway, another update here concerning the Jay-Z thing. Jay-Z calls for rape accuser's identity to be revealed or the case to be dismissed. Wild way he's kind of approaching this, right? Courtesy of Sky News, Jay-Z has asked for the identity of the woman who has accused him of raping her when she was 13 to be revealed or for the case to be dismissed. The accuser, who is identified only as Jane Doe, says the assault happened after the MTV Music Awards in 2000, allegedly alongside Sean Diddy Combs. In a court filing seen by Sky's US news partner NBC, Jay-Z's lawyer Alex Spiro argued that the accuser's decision to file a lawsuit under the name Jane Doe was inconsistent with a genuine effort to determine the truth of a falsity of these allegations, as opposed to an effort to procure a quick extortionate settlement. Mr. Spiro said that Jay-Z was respectfully seeking either dismissal of the allegation or disclosure of the plaintiff's identity. How can you do it respectfully? It's an interesting approach though. It's an interesting approach. I'm fascinated to see if it's going to work. Like calling the person's bluff, like, hey, if I did this thing to you, you have to show your face. If you're going to allege me or something, show your face. But I don't think that's possible because I remember, even in work environments, maybe people can dispute me in a stream chat. Isn't it true in a work environment? Like if you get written up in HR, like if somebody complains about you in HR, usually they don't tell you who did it. Yes, you may know, but they won't ever tell you, oh yeah, this person filed a complaint about you. That's why we're having this conversation. They don't even do that in HR. So Jay-Z thinking he can force the courts to get a Jane Doe to reveal themselves, especially with the allegations so traumatic and so hurtful and painful as this, it will set definitely a bad precedent for other cases down the line, innit? Because you'd imagine other people or other lawyers who are defending people who are accused of similar things will do the same thing, you know? It will really, really throw a lot of that stuff into disrepute. So it's unlikely that it's going to happen, but I'm curious to see if the judge will grant this plaintiff's identity being disclosed or whatever. He went on to say, it is not inconsistent with justice, fairness, or the rules of the governing federal proceedings for the plaintiff and their counsel to smear the defendant's good name in ways that have calculated media to feed on the coverage and thus inflict maximum public relations damage, while the core fact of the plaintiff's identity remains wholly hidden from view. I think this obsession that Jay-Z has with his identity and with his perception online or in public is also kind of wild and harmful, because it's like, does he really think that we believe that he's squeaky clean and a good guy and never done anything bad when you're a multi-billionaire? Isn't it almost impossible to be a billionaire? Maybe a millionaire is different, but isn't it impossible to be a billionaire and to have not fucked over people and to have not done some dirt? It's just nearly impossible to do so. So Jay's this obsession or this kind of, you know, this need to make sure that he looks a certain way in public, when we all know that most billionaires aren't squeaky clean. It's just like, do you take the public to be for fools? Do you take the public to be fools and shit? Maybe he does. I don't know. Texas-based lawyer Tony Busby, who says he's representing 120 accusers in the case against Combs, responded to Mr. Spiro's motion in an interview on Monday with NBC News. Mr. Busby said, anyone that suggests that a demand letter, especially the one that I sent, is extortion or blackmail is foolish. These kinds of demand letters are sent on a daily basis across the United States. And attempting to attack me to take the focus off the alleged perpetrator won't work, and it won't intimidate us. The federal lawsuit against Jay-Z and Combs was refiled in Southern District Court of New York on Sunday. It had originally been named Combs. According to NBC, the lawsuit claims a girl was dropped off at a VMA Radio City Music Hall by a friend. She did not have a ticket and approached various limousine drivers to try and gain access to the show or the after party. One driver allegedly told Miss Doe he worked for Combs and that she fit what Diddy was looking for. The driver later picked her up. The lawsuit says, and after 20 minutes, she was dropped off at a White House. The girl was then made to sign a document she believed to be an NDA. She was allegedly offered a drink that made her feel woozy. Shortly afterwards, the suit says both Combs and Jay-Z entered the room, with Combs telling her, "You're ready to party." Sorry, I shouldn't be laughing, but the last thing you hear before you get R-worded being "you ready to party" is fucking dark, man. The last thing you hear as a woman before you get R-worded is "you ready to party" is fucking dark. Holy shit. That's when she alleges that Jay-Z removed her clothes and held her down and raped her, while Combs and an unnamed female celebrity watched. She says Combs also raped her as Jay-Z and the woman looked on. After the alleged insult, she grabbed her clothes and ran to the nearest petrol station where she called her father. She is seeking unspecified damages. So yeah, I don't know what's happening. I don't know what's true. I just find it fascinating that a lot of hip-hop heads, people like Joe Budden, are purposely taking weeks off, taking days off recording because they're afraid of talking about it. Maybe it's self-preservation also. That's what I didn't think of. Maybe it's also self-preservation. Maybe if you're Joe Budden, you're also aware that you've done a lot of dirt. You've been involved in some sketchy situations with women. So maybe you don't want to speak about this because it might bring attention to what you may have done, and it might bring people, it might embolden victims to be like, oh, not so quickly, you done some fuck shit to me too. Who knows? Either way, I find it fucking utterly fascinating. I find it utterly weird. I find it bizarre, but this is the world we live in. This is the world we live in. Also, talking about worlds we live in, big up the one and only Samuel Ross. Big up Samuel Ross for doing bits out here, pushing the envelope and showing us streetwear kids, myself included, that the sky is the limit. Man went to streetwear, dominated, fashion dominated, contemporary art dominated, and now he completely sold a Cold War. And now, I think if I'm not mistaken, didn't he sold a Cold War for unspecified money? Completely 100% of it is gone. He's now moved on to other things. I think the internal team now took over and are now kind of designing it. And I think whoever bought a Cold War from him sold it again. So he kind of got off on a lick in that regard. And now he's doing a kind of, a really bespoke, small scale sort of line. I forgot what the name of it is called. And now he's also pursuing a lot of like his other collaborations under his own pseudonym, which I think is SRA or something like that, right? But regardless, he's absolutely killing it. And one of the things where he's killing it is these collaborations that he's doing with Hublot. He's had I think he's had a couple or maybe 3 or 4. And of course, these are probably going to be bucks in the thousands. And again, I'm not really a big watch person, but design wise, aesthetically, they look fucking incredible. They look really fucking cool. And like I said previously, for a streetwear kid like myself to see somebody as young as Samuel Ross do so much in such short time and be able to traverse and go in all these different sort of areas and be able to smash it and kill it is really inspiring and really cool to see. And the execution and the final product of it is always fucking high level as well. So big up Samuel Ross for doing all these cool, amazing things. So this is courtesy of GQ. It shows the latest collaboration of what he's doing here with Hublot. The text is as follows. Samuel Ross is known for cooking up conceptual streetwear with the Cold War. He's engineered sellout footwear and fashion collabs and designed art installations housing some of the world's most esteemed museums. Since founding SRA in 2019, his latest design project, he has created products and works across art, fashion, culture, and after winning the Hublot LVMH Design Prize in the same year, watches too. And now at the Miami Art Basel, where else, he just dropped a new Hublot Big Bang. That's the watch there, Hublot Big Bang, designed by Samuel Ross. Let me pause this video here. Hublot has a big presence in the world of Swiss watchmakers, despite being, relatively speaking, one of the new kids on the block. Turning 45 next year, it has made a name for the... Is it? Hublot's only 45 years old. Shit, okay. Why do I think Hublot's been around for ages? Okay. Known for its unconventional approach to watchmaking, Hublot is a brand that I always kept an eye on because I thought it was very interesting and very different animal within the watch industry, and it was confirmed by the discussions I've had about Hublot being disruptive and different. New Hublot CEO Julien Tonard tells GQ, who also believes that the Big Bang, which only debuted 20 years ago, has one of the most successful watch models in the world right now. With that in mind, Samuel Ross sounds like the perfect fit for the Touraine Hublot vision. I think over the next year we're going to Frederic Arnault's and Julian's perspective come into the market. We do have a longer roadmap, but you'll see a sense of materials that maybe you haven't been pronounced in the Hublot offering come to the fore gradually. We're also going to see this new tilt on nuance and brand behavior come into play, which is going to be really exciting. Okay, cool. So this is a long-term collaboration between Samuel Ross and Hublot. Love to see it. Look at the different materials. Look at the finishes on this watch. God damn it, bro. How much is a Hublot Big Bang retail for? Hublot Big Bang. How much are we talking? 10 grand? 100 grand? Woo! 40k. God damn. Hublot Big Bang. 40 fucking thousand. They don't play. These things are not cheap. They're not free. I wonder I wonder if expensive watches do they give some to influencers, or because they're so expensive they don't. I know some people get them for free, but is there like an influencer seeding for luxury expensive watches? Does that happen? Is that a thing, or do they reserve that for? Or is that just shoes? Would they give like an influencer like a free, like influencers free watches to wear, or is that not possible? Let's see this. Let's see how much do they go for? Partnerships. Let's go to partnerships. Let's see. Do they have prices? I guess they don't, right? So okay, look, you got the collaborations here. You got the Samuel. Oh my gosh, the Samuel Ross one. Big up Samuel Ross, absolutely killing it. What a G. His one is a Tourbillion carbon SRA by Samuel Ross, 44 millimeters, 124,000 Great British pounds. Big up fucking Samuel Ross. Wow. Honestly, he went from spray painting Air Force Ones. He went from spray painting Air Force One, dip dyeing Air Force Ones, cutting up t-shirts and stuff, sewing labels on the outside of t-shirts, you know, using blanks, whatever, hand cutting stuff, hand sewing shit, to now doing collaborations with Hublot and having watches that retail for 125 grand. Yo, that's goals, bro. That's fucking goals. But Jesus, these watches are expensive. I never understood people. Maybe it's just me. I've never been a watch guy. I've got a G-Shock that I wear, but you know, I'm not a expensive watch guy. But I never understood people who would buy watches and that kind of amount retail. Because for me, I'd rather spend that money on a holiday or a home. I would much sooner take 125 grand for a vacation, to put in a project, or to buy a home than I would to buy a watch. I wouldn't even take that money to buy a car. Really, I wouldn't. So it really is the height of like flexing. If you think about it, it really is the height of flexing. If you can walk around with people's, you know, net worth, maybe people's salary, maybe people's house prices on your wrist, on like a calm one. And it's one of many, because most people who are into watches don't have one, they have a selection. Fucking wild. Okay, so they collaborated with Novak Djokovic. Novak Djokovic's got one too, which has got more of a fabric strap, I guess a sports wise. Which I'm not really a big fan of. Someone called Alan Rora. I don't know who Alan Rora is, but he's got one too. It's black. So I think, Sam Ross's one's the most expensive one. Novak Djokovic's one is 45,000, and this Alan Rora, his one was 21 grand. Jesus Christ, bro! I didn't know Hublot's were that expensive. Absolutely wild. Anyway, it continues. Ross's Hublot link up points to a wider design collabs that align with Tornare's roadmap for the brand. If we think about the collaborations Hublot has worked with in the past 2 years, particularly Takeshi Murakami and myself, there's a real focus on the essence of the artist and designer's practice meeting the brand equally. I think we're going to continue to seek or to see the cadences of the partnership go deeper, maybe rather than to see them go wider, says Ross. Hublot has this benefit of being the little bit of more classic. That's they want to propose a newness in the sector, and that definitely goes hand in hand with how SRA and Cold War function in this industry. I love how he talks about himself, you know. He's very un-British. He's very like confident. He's very kind of quick to talk about himself, very quick to kind of wax lyrical about himself. He doesn't shy away from like speaking of himself in grandiose, higher level, sophisticated terms. I think a lot of us people who are kind of in the creative fields are a little bit more shy, a little bit more kind of meek, a little bit more kind of, dare I say, fake humble. But he doesn't, bro. Like Samuel Ross, when you ask him a question about the works that he does and his approach, he finna tell you. He finna let his nuts hang. He finna speak with his whole chest, you know? I kind of love that. I'm not gonna lie. I do love how defiantly he speaks about what he does and how seriously he takes his work. And he's, you know, it kind of comes through, obviously, with the final product and, of course, how he carries himself. Let's continue. Designer's latest Hublot Big Bang, Tourbillion SRA follows a string of hypey Tourbillion releases in 2024, feeding Big Bang budget watch guys' appetites for horology, and his new take on the exposed caliber Big Boy sees him get even more experiential than before. Switching out titanium for frosted carbon on a 44mm case is powered by a caliber HUB 6035 movement that's made of 264 components. Fucking incredible. That's the thing I love the most about watches, though, when they see people actually working on them and you see all the mechanisms that go into, you know, the watch and all the engineering and the precision. It's fucking crazy, like all reduced into this minute watch face. It's fucking incredible to see. It's powered by a caliber, including a self-winding micro rotor. The skeleton Tourbillion is visible at 6 o'clock and boasts a 72-hour power reserve. Fucking incredible. Look at that. Look at that. Given the watch's hardy, lightweight makeup, it's befitting of a dark blue rubber strap. I don't always like wearing metal bracelets. I'm agree at that in that regard. I'd much rather rubber and stuff. That's maybe why Richard Millie's are so popular too. Richard Millie's have that obviously expensive luxury thing, but they will do also have rubber straps or silicone straps that are a little bit more comfortable to wear day in, day out. Maybe bust downs and Rolexes are kind of hard because of the metal clanking or whatever. I don't always like wearing metal bracelets because I find it too heavy, or I find it tilts too much when it's drawing or sketching. Agree with that one. Whereas the TP and the rubberized band or even the woven band is so light and durable and breathable, it feels like I'm solving a problem of modern living. Okay, I love that. Clocking in at 124k and limited to just 50 pieces. Only 50 pieces available. Samus's latest ticker feels separate from the Hublot's push for the mainstream that's helped by football timekeeping sponsorship and likes of Premier League. But there's several conversations around how SIA is going to build a lightweight dynamic into the leading figures of a particular film in sport. Ross says, we know that our strong point is niche perspective on art and fashion and design, so we'll have more building and relationships with the right voices in these sectors, and then quite optimistically actually working with them on branded communication. So expect more going forward with Samuel Ross and Hublot. It looks fucking incredible. I love it. There's also some really good pictures on his Instagram showing some of the stuff that goes into making the watch. Obviously you see some pictures here courtesy of the White Wall, I guess it's a magazine, and him wearing the watch itself. There's also this video.
Time is precious.
I love these poses. There's never, when Samuel Ross sees the camera, he finna pose. He finna give you that Zoolander face. He finna mug you out. You're gonna get a mug. You're gonna get a pout. Samuel Ross loves a good camera, mate. But that watch is fucking good though. That looks incredible, I'm not gonna lie.
An hour.
Wow. That looks incredible, I'm not gonna lie. That looks fucking incredible. Big up Sammy Ross in that regard. And then you got some more pictures of the watch. Of course, some of you have already seen this vis-a-vis the article on GQ. You got more pictures of it as well. It looks fucking beautiful, doesn't it? It looks really fucking beautiful. And of course, you got some lifestyle pictures of Sammy Ross donning the watch itself. Some interesting poses there. And then you've got another one here, you know, he's got the Zoolander face going on there. Sammy Ross loves loves the camera, mate. Fucking loves the camera. Big up him. Big up Sammy Ross. He fucking loves the camera, mate. He fucking loves it. Look at that. Look at that pose. Look at that pose. Absolutely love it. Big up Samuel Ross. Big up Samuel Ross. Moving on. Fucking awesome. Holiday 2024. Big up Jason Deal, one of my favorite professional skateboarders of all time. Fucking awesome to the death. Hockey to the death. Fucking love fucking awesome. Love it. New holiday line just dropped. This is the lookbook. You got some really nice button-up shirts. You got some cool sweatpants. You've got a great down jacket with some FA logos on the back. You've got a great tracksuit that we see here. We've got this amazing multi-zip hoodie that you can fit loads of cans and beer bottles and whatever else you need there, and blickies. We've got t-shirts. We've got hats. We've got knit beanies. We've got t-shirts, hoodies, nice long sleeve shirts. I love the long sleeve here, by the way. I'm not drunk. I'm sad graphic at the back. We've got nice bombers, nice hoodies, nice t-shirts, I said before, nice hoodies. Everything looks fucking fantastic. It's already available to purchase now, but I wanted to highlight it because I love fucking awesome. I love Jason Deal. He's one of my favorite skateboarders of all time. Him alongside, you know, the Gons, maybe who else I fucking love. Day One Song, you know, my guys. But Jason Deal, definitely somebody that I've always been a big fan of, skateboarding wise. Gino Iniachu, a few other people who I'm thinking of as well who might be my favorites. But yeah, fucking love Jason Deal. Love everything about fucking awesome and how he kind of create directs it and art directs it and shit. And of course, the guy he does hockey with, what you call it? Is it Anthony Van Gangel? I forgot how you fucking say his name, but absolutely incredible. I love everything about it. Let's take a closer look into some of the items featured. One of the items here featured is this Savvy hoodie jacket, courtesy of what you call it, fucking awesome, with some of the graphics on the back here, nice fur on the hood, and this kind of tie-dye crinkled pigment what's the effect here? It's a pigment spray all over type of effect on the upper, which I really love the look of. Then you've got this hoodie here, which is a KO work jacket, which kind of takes inspiration from the double knee pants from Carhartt. So you've got the reinforced pockets here with the rivets and bullets, well, rivet kind of markings on some of the edges on here. And you've also got this patch that kind of lends itself to a Carhartt Dickies type of situation. Then you've also got a varsity jacket, a Korea Bars varsity jacket, which is pretty cool. A wool with vegan leather trim varsity jacket, quilted leather lining. It's actually funny because I actually bought a varsity jacket recently. I actually bought a varsity jacket the other day that's actually very similar to what he's selling there. I'm actually going to be wearing when I'm actually going to go to Berlin on Friday, but that's pretty cool. He's also offering a down jacket, a puffer jacket that's reversible. It also comes in blue, a reverse puffer, which I think is fucking cool. It's got the Globe logo with the fucking awesome written across the back of it, and it also reversible, and it also comes in blue, like I said previously. You've also got a Judah track jacket, which also comes as a tracksuit, which is pretty cool as well. I'm not mad at that in the slightest. Which comes with matching track pants. You've got a pair of, what's this, Feckle baggy denim, which I'm not mad at. You've got the Hammer Lee denim big bag pants. I'm not really too mad at that either. One of my favorite pieces in the collection is definitely this Pondering shirt, 100% cotton pinstripe shirt, button up with a silk screen print on the front with a Pondering girl graphic, which is really cool. Kind of reminds me of, like, you know, Comme des Garçons shirts. It's something also Jason Do used to wear. Jason Do used to have this style back in the day. I forgot the skate video, but Jason Do had a style where he'd wear like a mohawk and he had like a button-up shirt, and he'd wear like 3/4 length trousers with like pulled up white socks, and then wear really like, you know, wear like soccer cleats or like indoor kind of soccer kind of shoes and shit when he used to skate. And I remember he would wear shirts like this. So this is kind of harkening back to that sort of time. So I really fucking love it. And then you've got this. This is one of my favorite pieces too. This black letter rugby shirt that says fucking awesome on the front. And it's got this like nice kind of washed out vintage color wash thing on the upper, which is pretty cool. I love the look of this. Kind of similar to this kind of free corner if I'm wearing, but instead of the zip, it's got buttons on it. I really do love that. And a pop down collar. You've got a knit as well there with FA 2000 on there written. You've also got another knit here, which is a printed plaid sweater, sorry. Not too sure what the graphic is. I think the graphic might be like film, maybe rolls of film. Not sure what the graphic is, but it looks pretty cool. One of my favorite pieces is this one in particular, which is the Zippers hoodie. The Zippers hoodie is fucking fantastic. You can kind of, you know, essentially zip it. You can unzip the pockets all the way from one side to the other. It kind of reminds me of like an Issey Miyake kind of jacket vibes in that regard, but you can also kind of fit a ton of things in it as well, giving kind of bondagey Vivienne Westwood type of vibes as well with it. But I really, really do love it. You've got another one that says First Church, a nice grey, basic grey hoodie, which is really nice. The graphic on there is pretty cool as well. You've got another one here called a Deal Collage zip hoodie, which is pretty decent. Another one that says fucking awesome with a graphic of a, what's that? I don't know what that is. Is that a ghost? I'm not sure what that is. What's that graphic? Printed mouth girl artwork on the front. You got another one that says Hate the Pain Away. You got another long sleeve shirt that says I'm not drunk, I'm sad. FA World, we're here for you. Yeah, some pretty cool graphics. Nice long sleeve t-shirts and stuff with nice graphics with FA written on the outside of it. You've also got a nice snapback or nice trucker hat with fucking also with the world logo. And some of my favorite pieces are this bag. You got the fucking awesome all over print stamp large tote bag, and you've also got this logo tote bag. So you've got this large tote bag, which is more of a shopper, and you've also got this tote bag. The only problem I have with tote bags personally, maybe it's just like a toxic masculinity thing, or maybe it's just me being dumb. I like tote bags, but I don't like tote bags that don't have shoulder straps. So every time I buy a tote bag, I have to re-engineer it, so I have to take off the straps and kind of attach them to each other to make like one long strap. But I don't like wearing the bag, like I don't like carrying it in my hand or having it over my shoulder. I want to be able to carry it across my body, you know? Either I can hold it in my hand, but I can carry it across my body. But I don't want to carry it on my shoulder. So I do prefer tote bags that have like an extra strap on the inside. That would be pretty cool. But I don't know if it does have this in this particular regard, but I do like it regardless. It's also a fucking awesome keychain, shirt thing as well. That's pretty cool. And there's also a stamp logo car emblem. Oh, sick. There's a little car thing too that you can put on your thing. That says fucking awesome in chrome. So yeah, looks pretty cool. Regardless, you can check it out. It's available now. First delivery of fucking awesome. It's available now to purchase. I'm pretty sure I saw it on the site now. If you go on the site, I'm sure all of that stuff I just showed you is available to purchase right now. As you can see here, a lot of hockey stuff and shit. And I think some of the stuff that I mentioned is available. I'm sure I saw it available. Maybe I'm bugging. Let's see here. I'm sure I saw it available here. Lookbooks, accessories. I'm sure I saw all of it available here. Or maybe I didn't. I don't know. But I'm pretty sure I saw most of it available to purchase, but maybe not. But I think it is. Regardless, check it out anyway if you can see it. The website is faworldentertainment.com. Check it out. Oh, there it is. Available here. There we go. You can see it here down below. Sorry. There we go. Some of the stuff's already available. I think. Can you purchase it now? It's not available. Oh, it's available soon. So it's not available to purchase just yet. But you can see all the colors and all the different colorways for the things here available. The snapback hat comes in 2 colorways. It seems like it comes in the plaid and the black. Some of the t-shirts come in different colors. The varsity jacket, not so much. The tracksuit, not so much. The reversible puffer is really one of my favorite pieces in this collection. Looks pretty hard. It comes in the blue, which is quite nice. You got this obviously one side with the logo on the back and that on the front. And if you flip it, it turns into that kind of like jacket cross kind of down jacket design. And then of course you've got the logo here, close print, and you've also got a little outside tab that says fucking awesome as well. And it also comes in black in the same sort of design as well. So that's one of my favorite pieces there. As is that Korea varsity jacket. That's really hard as well. This Korea bar varsity jacket is pretty hard with the fucking awesome logo on the back. Bar Soul. That was pretty fucking cool, not gonna lie. And then one of my other favorites is obviously that multi-zipper hoodie thing that I was talking to you about, where you can fit a ton of things in it, which is this one here, which is called the Zippers hoodie. Super cool. Heavyweight, vintage washed, 100% cotton, zipped hoodie, full length, zipped side pockets, 2-way zippers all throughout, custom FA circulated zipper pulls, and French terry lined. That's fucking hard, man. I'm sorry. It's a really, really hard hoodie. You can stash a bunch of stuff in there, multivitamins, steaks, you know, that you're boosting from the shop, spray paint, you're boosting from the shop, bunch of things, Kinder Buenos. You can go fucking crazy with this jacket. Absolutely crazy. And it's only $145 as well. Such a bargain. Really fucking cool. Love the look of it. So big up FA, and big up Jason Deal. Love the guy, love the guy, love the guy. Talking about people that I love. Let's talk about John Geiger. Big up John Geiger. John Geiger season 5 dropping this Friday. Season 5 isn't just shoes, it is some clothing also, which I haven't seen much of him, you know, to be honest, because I've only become more familiar with John Geiger's work ever since I've been fucking jockeying the fucking John Geiger 004s, and I've been fucking sucking them off and talking about them ad nauseum on this particular podcast. I know some of you hate it, but it is one of my sneakers of the year, so I'm not going to stop talking about them. But he does also make clothes, does also make accessories, and some of the stuff is dropping this Friday. I'm a fan of especially the flannel. I'm a fan of the cargo pants, and I'm a fan of some of the t-shirt designs. But I do like the fact that instead of trying to design an entire expansive, crazy big collection, he's instead focusing on designing what I would deem to be like wardrobe staples that he actually wears, or that's kind of similar to his style. I think that's the best way to kind of probably flesh out an overall collection, especially if you're not too sure on what you want to make, and kind of lead in that direction. Like, let me be selfish and start making stuff that I like, stuff that I would like to see out there. Like maybe, you know, you like a particular cut of a flannel, but you don't like this particular detail. So you know what? I'm going to make my own thing. I'm going to make it this particular way. I'm going to have side pockets. I'm going to make sure it comes up this way. It's this length. It's this material. It's this weight. All those things are super important. So I love the fact that he's gone that direction instead of trying to do a whole super expansive full winter collection when really maybe he's not at that stage yet. He's still trying to kind of figure out what direction to go in. But in general, I think the staples and the wardrobe staples that he has here are pretty solid. You got some really nice, like I said, oversized flannels that look like they're kind of lined, or they look like they might be quilted, or just heavy in general. You got some really nice cargo pants with some nice multi-pocket designs. Some of them sweats, some of them different materials, which I really like. I also like the logo. That logo that's appeared on the the 004s is pretty cool. It's kind of Y2K kind of vibes, whatever. But I do like the logo and how it looks. And obviously, you'd imagine the pants with the pockets are probably functional too, and it probably can fit a bunch of stuff in there. The colors for the flannels are really nice as well. The colorways, which is also, I said it to him personally, I think it's definitely one of his talents, is definitely the colorways that come with it, like this yellow, this brown, this kind of limey kind of color. Really, really nice colorways on the flannels. You got some really nice big pearly buttons as well on the chest pockets. Some really nice details here. Maybe this would be benefited with a zipper, or maybe with some snap buttons on the front. I'm not too sure, but regardless, it looks really cool. I like that. And also you got the cargo pants that also come available in the camo. I think the other one I showed you was more of a sweat material, but this is more of a standard, I guess, camo pant material that you know and love. There's some other pieces also here for the season 5. You've got another edition of the flannel with some sweatpants and a hoodie underneath it. You've got another angle of the same cargo pants I showed you before, multi-pant pocket cargo pants. You've also got a sneak peek of an overcoat here, which looks very, very plush, very, 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 very luxurious and very nice. A nice overcoat, peacoat type of style, or what's it called, Chesterton, I think the style of the jacket is called. Again, something that you'd imagine he'd be wearing in his wardrobe. And another angle of these cargo camo pants as well. You've got this down jacket, which I really like, this puffer jacket, which is pretty cool. I'm not too sure what the scene of this is, but this camo jacket and the neon yellow pull tabs and the hoodie, pretty fucking cool. And it's got a matching pant as well. I love that. It's kind of giving me undercover vibes, but I do love the look of it. So pretty fucking cool. And then the last bits of here, John Geiger season 5, you've got a varsity jacket that's maybe the similar colors of like the recent 004 that came out for Art Basel. You've got this nice blue and green color, nice baggy jeans. You've also got another picture of the flannel with some matching with the sweatpants with a drawers, which I really like actually. I like the style of the styling nod of the sweatpant with the drawstrings with some white socks and the 004s. I think they look super hard, really hard. I'm hoping to get this fucking color of this shoe. It's so fucking hard. But I do like the look of these. I think styling wise that looks pretty cool. We continue here. What else have we got there? And then I think the last two, we've got another angle. I think these are camo. I think this camo is a bit lighter than what we saw previously. Maybe it might be the same, not too sure. But regardless, you see a different angle of it from the side. You see some of the front pockets protruding here, some of the side pockets, and you also see this pullover top thing that looks really, really cool as well. Maybe you haven't got. Maybe this is kind of later down the line, but it looks really fucking cool as well. And very cozy. And then we've also, oh, there we go. We've got the angle here of the actual jacket itself. Maybe the finish of the zip I'm not really a big fan of. I think the zip is a bit janky. Maybe it doesn't need to have this neon green zip. Maybe if I was being picky, I'd say I'd want maybe a bit more of a heavy duty silver, really chunky Riri zip on there instead of this plastic green one. But still, the piling on it, or was it shirling, whatever the fucking thing, shaggy material of that top is really fucking nice and cozy, and I bet it's hella warm. So big up John Geiger. That stuff's going to be available this Friday according to his Twitter. He said, is it Friday? He said loading, yeah, Friday 12th or 13th or the 12th. So check it out. Check out his site. You know where to find him on social media. Don't delay, don't be dumb, don't delay, don't be dumb, don't delay, don't be dumb. If you can, that'll be possible. Check out John Geiger and his stuff. You love to see it. You love to freaking see it. Moving on. Let's talk a little bit about Miu Miu and New Balance. Miu Miu, New Balance 530s, SL Silver Pack. I'm sure some of you know the original ones that came out in brown. They did absolute bits. People were going fucking crazy for them. Now there's a second collection or second pair coming out, which is the silver ones. I wish I could wear these. I'm sure they wouldn't look that good on me, especially with my size 11 feet. I'm a size US 12 now. I actually recently bought a pair of Nike Air Maxes from Vinted actually, and I bought a size 11, and for once when I put them on I was like, wow, this is what it feels like to wear shoes your size. They fit, no issues, didn't have to remove an insole, nothing. And if you know me, you know how much I love removing insoles from my shoes and purposely wearing things that maybe a half a size smaller. It's fucking all over the place. So first time that I realized, oh shit, I'm not a UK 10. I'm not a UK 10 anymore. I'm not a UK 10 anymore. Unfortunately, I am clearly a UK 11. So I'm not too sure if these, my big, fucking whale feet will look as good in these Miu Miu fucking New Balances. But I do love the look of them, especially this other silver one. This one too with the mesh. So maybe the all silver one are not for me, but I really do love the look of this one. The one that comes with the mesh. I think this is hard because it also has a gum sole, doesn't it? It looks like it has a bit of a gum sole. So this one has a bit of a white outsole with a lower, because I imagine if they sold these New Balance, if this New Balance shoe came with a more pronounced midsole, I think they'd be way popular. But I think this almost like zero drop ballerina flat sole thing, I think it put a lot of sneakerheads like myself off. I think if they came with a more pronounced chunky New Balance midsole outsole, I think they'd fly out. But because they're not like that, people are probably a bit hesitant. But I think this particular colorway, this silver with the mesh, ooh. And look at the laces. You got these different. I love how they styled this as well, by the way. I'm not sure what this references to, but you have two different sets of laces on one shoe. So you have one set of laces where you zip it up, you lace it up 3 eyelets, you tie it in a knot, and you have another completely different lace, and you tie that in a knot. So it has this really nice effect where you have these 2 different laces styles on one foot. And obviously you can change them, and they've got different styles laces. You got this rope one, you got this flat lace, you got this kind of like a rubbery leather lace going on there. But I really do love the look of this one. This one is probably my favorite one. I definitely wear the fuck out of this. But again, I'm not too sure if this particular model will suit my big gigantor feet. But I really would love to try and get a pair. I know they're available in men's because I see a bunch of dudes wearing these, and they did fly out, and they were very popular when they did eventually drop. And I would like to try to see if I could fit my fucking massive feet in them, but they do look fucking sick. I love the mix, especially with the silver and the mesh on here. It pops really well, and that grey gum brown sort of like outsole works really well on them as well. So definitely these ones for me are definitely my favorites. But they also have this all silver pair as well that I'm sure people will be fond of as well. But for me, the silver and the mesh one is definitely something that I will try to purchase myself because they look so freaking hard. But again, what do I know? Absolutely nothing. Continuing on about knowing nothing, there's also this update courtesy of Modern Notoriety regarding Nike SB reissuing the P-Rod. The 20th anniversary of the P-Rod. The P-Rod ones are coming back out again, which I'm happy about. I think the last P-Rods I had might have been the Futura ones. I had these actually. I sold them because they were too small. But the last P-Rod I actually had were these. Oh, they're going for 600. Fucking hell. Yeah, I had these. I had this P-Rod, the Futura ones back in the day. I had these back in the day. Not the most comfortable shoes in the world, I'm not gonna lie. Looked a bit ugly on, not gonna lie, but now that we're in this new, nostalgia era, everyone's trying to bring back the early 2000s and the late 90s skate kind of aesthetic. These sort of chunky shoes are going to be in vogue now. But I remember they do having these P-Rods, the Futura versions, and I didn't like them too much. But I'm happy to see them coming back. And obviously Paul Rodriguez is a fucking legend, especially in Nike skateboarding world. Probably got a lot of unfair stick back in the day, but definitely somebody who kind of, paved the way for a lot of skateboarders, especially on Nike SB, and just in general, create a lot of great moments when it comes to Nike SB footwear and products. But if they are bringing back some Nike SB stuff, I've said it previously, I really want them to bring back the Nike SB FC. Is it FC? Yeah, I want them to bring back this model. I really want them to bring back the FC. Please bring back the FC. I beg of you. If they're bringing back models, please bring back this model. This model. Is it the FC? Is that what I'm talking about? I think it's FC, right? Nike SB FC. I think it's FC. Let's see 2003. This model in particular, I want them to bring this back so badly. It's one of my favorite models. It kind of resembles like an indoor soccer shoe type of vibe. And I'm sure if you know the style that I'm talking about. But I'm sure this is the particular colorway. Let's see what color is I thinking. Was it a Brazil pack? It was a particular colorway, maybe it was 2000. Let's see if it's 2000. Was it called an FC? Or was it let's see, Nike SB 2000? Let's see what has available here, because that model was one of my favorite ones from back in the day, but they don't make it anymore, unfortunately. What do we have here? We got some Blazers, we got some Dunks, cool. But I really wanted to bring back that FC because that was one of my favorite Nike skateboarding models from back in the day that they don't reissue anymore. And essentially, like I said, it kind of resembled like an indoor soccer cleat or an indoor soccer shoe, squash shoe. You got this model too that's doing pretty decently. The vertebrae That's a really nice model. But I really want London to bring back that FC. I don't know. Is it called an FC? The model I'm thinking of? I think it's what I'm thinking of. I think it's an FC. But regardless, I think you kind of get the gist of what I'm talking about when it comes to this. As you can see here, it's basically this model, essentially similar to this, a Nike SB. Hopefully they bring it back. But regardless, Paul Rodriguez is bringing back his particular one. Soon come. You see some images of it here available already. Coming back sometime this year or sometime next year. I'm assuming sometime next year. I'm assuming, but I could be wrong. And then to finish off with sneaker news, we've got this particular one lineup, which I'm really happy about. Big up Over and Under. Big up my G Over and Under, the #1 source for streetwear, sneakers, and fashion and culture news. They put together a little piece, a little artwork piece regarding some of the up and coming Jordan 4s that are coming out next year. The ones obviously that I'm super excited for. If you know anything about me, you know how much I'm obsessed with all black trainers. So the all black cat Jordan 4s, I'm all over them. Even though I've got a pair, I'm probably going to try and get a pair in my actual size, because that one I've got is a 10. I probably need an 11. The Nike Jordan, the Jordan 4 SBs as well in the varsity red. I'm definitely going to try and cop that. I'm also going to try obviously cop the undefeated, the olive greens, and most likely the blues as well, SB. So those will probably be the 4s I'll try and get. This other one here, this bottom one, I'm not really too fond of, but the black cats, the varsity reds, the blue SBs, and of course the undefeated that are going to be coming out next year, especially because this is the old shape, but this updated shape is the one they're going to be using. I think all Jordan 4s going forward have this updated SB shape that's a little bit more similar to like the Jordan 4 when it came out in the 90s, 80s. It's got a bit more of a sleeker toe, if you kind of see it, silhouette. So this shape is kind of the older shape, so it's going to look pretty cool when they do update it and give it the updated silhouette. And obviously you got this olive, this kind of one, which I'm not really fond of. The denim one can go get fucked, and I don't really too crazy about white cement 4s as well. I don't really care too much about those, but the black cat 4s, the varsity red ones there, the royal blue ones there are fucking flames. And you know, if you know me, you know how much I love Jordan 4s. Definitely in my top 10 silhouettes of all time. So I'm definitely going to try and get a pair when they eventually land. Okay, my friends. That is it. That's been the Action Zinger Show episode number 844. Thanks so much for tuning in. Been a pleasure of your company as per usual. Please make sure if you're watching this via the live stream that you like the stream down below. If you're listening via the podcast app, please leave me a 5-star review. That'd be greatly appreciated. Links to me and socials, all that malarkey, email links and show note descriptions will be down below later on. So please make sure you click that if you need to get an idea on what's going on. For those of you listening to the podcast via an audio podcast application like Overcast, Apple, Spotify, all that malarkey, you'll be hearing my tune of the day. My tune of the day is by the wonderful Angel Olsen, taken from the album or the compilation album Cosmic Waves Volume 1. The track today for my tune of the day is going to be Sinkhole. The tune of the day for me is going to be Angel Olsen, Sinkhole, one of my favorite tracks from this particular compilation album. Listen to it, absorb it, chill to it, smoke to it, drink to it. It's a fucking amazing track. Love it. So that's my song of the day. For those of you watching live, you won't hear it because of copyright. You know how YouTube is. But thank you so much for tuning in. It's been a pleasure, never a chore. I appreciate every single one of you. Please make sure you like the stream at the end of it and all that malarkey. And I'll see you guys again very, very soon. For those of you who like the random show, that'll be coming up later on tonight. So please be patient with me. We'll do the random show later on tonight. But thank you for chilling out. I appreciate all of you, and I'll see you again very, very soon. But for now, take care, people. Peace.